if they want to keep those national title hopes alive. The Cardinals and the Wolverines coming up in just a few minutes. For now, back to the studio and Mike Gleason.
And that is Clay Matvick working with Mike Tomczak, the former Buckeye quarterback, back behind enemy lines inside Michigan Stadium. Great way to open another Saturday here on ESPNU. Along with former Buckeye head coach John Cooper, I'm Mike Gleason. Here's what to watch for on ESPNU. On this first Saturday in the month of November, once we leave Ann Arbor, we'll head for East Lansing, Michigan. Michigan State takes on Purdue, the first game for the Spartans since hearing the fate of their coach John L., who will be replaced at the end of the season. Purdue leads the league in total offense, but keep an eye on number 49, Anthony Spencer, pretty good defensive ball player. 7 o'clock, ACC, NC State, Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech's got to continue. Throw the ball down the field to Calvin Johnson. I think he's the best wide receiver in college football. Give him a chance to make big plays.
NC State, they've dropped 3 straight. You can see the graphic there. They've won their last 4 games against ranked opposition this year. At 10 o'clock tonight, we move to Orangeburg, South Carolina. South Carolina State takes on Howard. South Carolina State featuring Deshaun Baker, the #1 rusher in the MEAC, averaging over 106 yards a game. The other side, Howard has produced a strong running game of their own, averaging nearly 250 yards on the ground the last 2 weeks. Coach, Michigan, 2 games before heading to Columbus. What do the Wolverines have to polish up before meeting the Buckeyes?
It's going to help them get Mario Manningham back. I think they got to go back to that vertical passing game, throw the ball down the field. Mario averages 22 yards every time he makes a catch. Get the ball to him. That will keep people from putting 8 people in the line of scrimmage. Also help Michigan's running game.
Now, Manningham is back, expected to play sparingly. We'll be here throughout the day, keeping you updated on all the other games. Right now, let's head back to the Big House, Michigan and Ball State. Here's Clay and Mike.
Thanks, Mike, and welcome to ESPNU College Football, presented by Allstate. Today, we're at the Big House, where the second-ranked Wolverines look to stay sharp and undefeated. They're hosting the 3-6 Ball State Cardinals. Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Ann Arbor alongside my partner Mike Tomczak. I'm Clay Matvick. The focus for these Wolverines the next 2 weeks is to stay focused and stay healthy leading up to their showdown with Ohio State. And one of the reasons, perhaps, maybe the biggest reason that Michigan has been so good this year, their big weapon, Mike Hart, has stayed healthy.
Well, he's had tremendous production. He's been healthy, like you said, but the consistency. He carries the ball. He doesn't turn it over. He's elusive. He's got great vision, and he's the guy that wants to send these seniors out with a home victory in their last game here at the Big House.
Ball State at midseason changed quarterbacks, and so far they haven't regretted it. They think that their true freshman Nate Davis has a bright future.
Well, he has a bright future, but he's going to grow up quickly today playing Michigan. Here's a guy that's a gym rat. He throws the ball down the field very effectively. The pocket presence is very strong, but like I said earlier, he's going to grow up very quickly with the maize and blue coming after him.
Well, today marks the 200th consecutive game where the Wolverines have drawn more than 100,000 fans. The weather at kickoff today is much better than last week's homecoming game against Northwestern. They had rain and stiff winds. Not today. It's cold, but dry. There's a look at Lloyd Carr. For 26 years, he's been a coach at Michigan, the last 12 as head coach. He got a title back in '97. He's hoping this is the year for number 2. A win today gives him his 6th 10-win season since taking the program over. And his counterpart today, a man he knows very well, Brady Hoke. A 1982 grad of Ball State. Before coming back to his alma mater in 2002, he coached under Lloyd Carr at Michigan as the D-line coach for 8 years. These guys have a lot of respect for each other, Mike.
Well, certainly, and Lloyd Carr's been the reason for that. He's put a lot of coaches into collegiate football head coaching, and Brady Hoke is no exception. Being back at your alma mater, it's a wonderful, wonderful tradition, and I wish him well.
Well, Michigan is going to receive here today. Ball State is facing its 3rd Big Ten opponent this season. And they've already lost to Indiana and Purdue. They know they're big underdogs today, but their goal is to play well.
Play well and play clean. I think Coach Hoke wants to see these guys come out here, not turn the football over, not beat themselves with pre-snap penalties, but they're going to play an aggressive football game, and Michigan is going to make this extremely physical for the Cardinals.
Well, Brian Jackson is going to kick off, and bang, we're underway. Back deep to return is Steve Preston. Averaging 25 yards per kickoff return. He's not going to get that on this one. He's out to the 23, and that's where Chad Henne and company will start 1st down and 10. Well, statistically, he is already one of the greatest quarterbacks in Michigan Wolverine history. He's making his 34th consecutive start today. And, Mike, his numbers aren't gaudy, but they're very good.
Well, you want production at the quarterback spot, but you also want a guy that knows how to take care of the football. 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's a tremendous ratio. But the reason he's done extremely well is because he has guy number 20 in the backfield take the load off of him.
Brian Thompson, the tight end, goes in motion. First play of the game. Here's Michigan. It's Mike Hart. And a big run on first down. He's got over 1,100 yards rushing this season and 9 touchdowns. He's going to have a big day today, I'm sure. Well, injuries have affected the Wolverines, especially at tight end. Through attrition, redshirt freshman Carson Butler has been giving the starting job. Breaston and Arrington, the talented wideouts. The Wolverines are sleeker up front this year. Captain and left tackle Jake Long lost 25 pounds. It's really helped him. Riley and Beal, both fifth-year seniors, of course, playing their last home games today. They go right back to Hart, and he's going to pick up 4 yards here on first down. Cardinals defensive coordinator Mark Smith goes with a 3-4 look. Larimore, Wise, and Karoma applying the pressure. The linebackers, Jason Seaman, Wendell Brown, who's a Michigan native, Brad Cease, and Cortland Booker, their top pass rusher. In the secondary, Lewis, Keys, Burke, and Bice, who is their best cover man. It's been a tough year defensively, however, for the Cardinals. You got 2nd and 7. Michigan at the 40-yard line. On their first series of the day. Henny turns and hands off to Hart. Trying to go over left tackle. Another decent pickup. It looks like he's short of the first down. Michigan ranks 2nd in the BCS behind Ohio State. Of course, they'll be playing the Buckeyes here in a couple of weeks. 21-0 all-time against MAC opponents. And defensively, we're going to be talking about that Big Blue defense when they go on defense. Number 1 in the nation against the run. So impressive. So far, Hart, 3 carries, 20 yards. He's off to a good start. He's the lone setback. They're going to pass. Come out to the near side. It's Adrian Arrington. Makes a nice move. He's out across midfield. It's a first down. Adrian Arrington had only 1 catch last week, but it was his 5th touchdown of the year. He did not start last week after pleading not guilty to those domestic violence charges. Coach Carr told us he's allowing the legal system to play out its course and thinks that Arrington will be exonerated.
Well, this is where he feels most comfortable, is on the football field, and it's nice to see him catch his first pass of the day.
At the 48 of Ball State on first down and 10. Hart again finds a hole, and he's out close to another first down. Bangs his way inside the 40 to the 38 before free safety Eddie Burke plugs the hole.
Well, 5 consecutive runs to the left side behind Jake Long, their captain. They widen the hole because Jake Long does a great job stepping out towards the defender and creating space. But they always talk about hitting their landmarks in the offensive line. We'll talk about that as the game unfolds.
Just inches short, 2nd down and 1. Right back to Hart. Penalty flag down. He's got enough for a first down, but we're going to have to see what this penalty flag is about. Today's official, our referee, Bill Lamonier.
Holding. Number 85 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat 2nd down.
Well, that's Carson Butler, the tight end. He's the team's top receiving tight end, but because of injuries, he started the last 2 games. Tyler Ecker and Mike Massey are out.
You know, the new diet in college football is dominating one side of the line of scrimmage, and you see Michigan's come out early, and they run every running play to the left-hand side. It's a very left-handed dominated team, just like Ohio State, but you go to your strengths. You're not going to fool anyone, just man on man. Who's going to win the battles?
3 receivers set, backed up to the 49 now. 2nd down and 11. Off his back foot, Henny gets it away to Hart. Hart behind a screen, not a lot of operating room. And he's pulled down at the 47-yard line by Keys and Brown.
Well, nice defensive play by Ball State. Recognition, know the down and distance. It was 2nd and long. You want to hold him to a 3rd and long situation, and Brown did a nice job recognizing that and grabbing Hart and throwing him to the ground.
It's going to bring up 3rd down and 8. This will be the 7th play of the opening drive for the Blue. Chad Henne making his 34th straight start today under center. Now checking at the line. Henne 25 and 8 as a starter here in Ann Arbor. Throws out to the near sideline, has a receiver, and it's Adrian Arrington. That's easily a first down, and then some.
Nice job by Chad Henne. He looks at the underneath coverage on the left-hand side of your screen, number 8. Terry Bice does a nice job floating in coverage, but it's a great throw, great route by Arrington. He gets deep, vertical into the route, catches the ball at the highest point. Nice first down conversion.
So one thing about Chad Henne, he's very accurate. Completes over 60% of his throws. First down and 10 from the 30. Here's Jerome Jackson. Doesn't get a ton of playing time. He had a season-high 9 carries and 59 yards last week against Northwestern. Let's go down to our third member, Quint Kesnick.
Clay, great news for Michigan fans this week. Mario Manningham returned to practice. Remember, he had surgery on his knee on a partially torn meniscus cartilage on October 10th. He's missed the last 3 games. He's in uniform. I watched him warm up today, and I'd have to say he looked about 80 to 85%. His north-south speed was there, but some of his cuts looked like they were a little gingerly. The coaching staff said he will be used in a limited fashion today, very sparingly.
All right, Quinn, thank you very much. And here's a Michigan touchdown. Jerome Jackson. A touchdown run here on the first series of the game for the Wolverines. And Jackson, the senior out of Saginaw, Michigan, with the touchdown.
Well, it was the first time they ran to the right. And it's probably obvious that they go ahead and take it to the end zone. They were focusing on stopping the run to the left, but Jackson does a nice job exploding through the goal line.
A 24-yard touchdown run for Jackson. Had a lot of playing time in the fourth quarter of the homecoming game last week against Northwestern, and in his final home game, he's one of 24 seniors for Michigan, scores a touchdown.
Being reviewed.
Well, now this last touchdown run is going to be reviewed.
I think his knee might have come down before the ball crossed the goal line. But why not take a look at it? They review every play in the replay booth.
I think he may have been brought down at the 1. Kind of tripped up on his own.
I think his knee was down. The ball never did cross the goal line from that view. As he stumbles going towards the goal line. Looks like his right knee is going to touch first, then his left. He's down by contact. I don't think the ball ever crossed the goal line.
And I think this is going to be overturned.
Remember, any part of the goal line that goes from here to the ceiling, here to the sky, if he crosses that with the football, it'll be a touchdown.
Well, Hart gets the lion's share of the carries, obviously, Mike, but there are guys in the backfield like Kevin Grady and Brandon Minor, and you just saw Jerome Jackson getting a couple of carries on this series. They've got some depth at that position.
Well, they have depth at that position, but more importantly, they have an offensive line that moves the line of scrimmage. And I always thought running backs were a dime a dozen. As long as you have a strong offensive line that knows how to change the line of scrimmage and dominate at the point of attack. That's why you see Jerome Jackson getting some early play here. They're all competitors, Clay, and they want to get in the game as much as possible.
After review, there is indisputable video evidence that the runner was down at the 1-yard line. First down and goal.
Now they got it right. And my contention is I'm not opposed to the review as long as you get it right. And they did.
Well, it's not who's right, it's what's right. And it might be the half-inch line instead of the 1-yard line, but let's see where they mark the football. And why not put Jerome Jackson back in there, the senior, to see if he can get another touchdown.
You see what Michigan has done inside the red zone. Cranking along 28 of 31 on scores, 17 of those scores touchdowns.
And that stats can become more apparent in 2 weeks when they go down to Ohio State, because touchdowns do win championships when you're in the red zone.
You're right. Jackson is back in there. We'll see if they go back to him. They do. Going over left tackle. Trying to cut the corner to the end zone. Touchdown.
Well, give the band another opportunity to play the fight song. Some more high fives. You got everyone gathering in the end zone, but nice opening drive. They had one pass in the drive. Everything else was all runs, and that's pretty indicative of the power of football that Michigan brings here this afternoon.
Now, it didn't take long. Less than 5 minutes. And the Wolverines are on the scoreboard.
They're going to have to find a way to slow down this rushing game. Penetration is going to help Ball State on defense.
Garrett Rivas on to attempt the extra point. Very good kicker. The senior out of Tampa bangs it through, and it's 7-0 Wolverines. Jerome Jackson, one of the seniors playing his final home game at the Big House, makes it 7-0 Wolverines.
Today, game matters.
There's Jerome Jackson. He capped a 10-play, 76-yard drive that went 4 minutes and 54 seconds. His older brother Terry was a running back with the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Doesn't get a lot of playing time, but in this game he might.
I think by design, Lloyd Carr did a nice gesture there by giving the senior a nice going out party in the first touchdown of the afternoon.
Now we're going to get our first look at Ball State with the football. Out over the 20 to the 25-yard line. Returned by Anton Campbell. And there's a look at Nate Davis, Ball State's 19-year-old gunslinger. He's got 14 of the school record 23 touchdown passes thrown this season. His passing efficiency is 12th in the nation, and he's just a freshman.
Well, we're going to find out if you could read coverages today, because Michigan not only is going to bring a lot of pressure from their 4 defensive interior linemen, but the secondary is going to be pretty active.
Michael Steinhaus, the tight end, goes in motion. Play action, rolling out to his right. Davis cocks his arm, fires, has a man underneath. It's going to be enough for a first down. And there is a penalty flag behind. Now, we were told this week by the Ball State coaching staff they will throw a lot on first down today.
Throw a lot on first down. They're going to try to go up top, too. But we got a personal foul the first play of the game. Talk about toughness. Nate Davis took a blowing shot to the head.
Personal foul. Helmet-to-helmet contact. Number 14 on the defense. That 15-yard penalty is tacked on with an automatic first down.
Wow, that's going to put the football into Michigan territory. Morgan Trent, the sophomore out of Brighton, Michigan, not making a smart play.
No, it's not a smart play. You got to give up after the ball leaves the quarterback's hand. Nice call by the referee, but more importantly, that's a huge completion and also tack on the penalty.
So it's first down and 10 at the 47. Davis again comes underneath, has a receiver. It's going to be a pickup of about 2 yards on the play. Well, they throw a lot, and they rely on their tight ends heavily. Sophomore Darius Hill is 1 touchdown shy of a team record for touchdown catches. We'll keep an eye on him today. The Cardinals' offensive line is young and not very deep. Right guard Justin Schneider, 5th-year senior, and the only upperclassman up front. Part of the reason that they've struggled moving the football.
Certainly has. They give up a lot of sacks, 25 sacks on the year, but their inexperienced left tackles are pretty young in the lineup.
And pitch it back. This is Larry Bostic, nowhere to run. Trying to cut the corner on the near side, and he was hit hard by Rondell Biggs. Well, the Maize and Blue defense, it's #1 against the run. Lamar Woodley, Terrence Taylor, Alan Branch, and Rondell Biggs make up one of the nation's fiercest fronts. Crable, Harris, Burgess. Harris is the top tackler. Leon Hall is the best corner that defensive coordinator Ron English says he has ever worked with. Engelman, Adams, and Trent round out that secondary. On the near hash and at the 45-yard line of Michigan. Nate Davis, the true freshman out of Bel Air, Ohio, drops back and throws over the middle into double coverage, and it's batted down. Well, that's the one thing that they said about Davis. He's very talented, but he tries to get it sometimes into too tight a space.
Well, that's what every quarterback tries to do. They think their arm strength's a lot greater than it really is, but a tremendous job by Leon Hall breaking on the football, coming in with the right hand deflecting the football. That was a big third down breakup there for Leon Hall and the Michigan Wolverines.
Hall, an All-American candidate, probably the country's best cover corner. And Chris Miller, a very good punter in his own right, standing at his 40-yard line. He's going to kick this one away. And Steve Breston is back to return. He's going to let it drop at the 12, and it's going to take a roll. A good one for Ball State. And Michigan's looking at a long field when we come back. 7:54 to go, opening quarter. The Wolverines on top, 7-0. ESPNU College Football is presented by Allstate. Are you in good hands?
With pride we hail to the victors valiant. Hail to the conquering heroes. Hail, hail to Michigan.
A 108-year-old tradition here in Ann Arbor. The Michigan fight song, The Victors. And I'd ask you to sing your school's fight song, but I'm afraid there'd be 100,000 people climbing up into the press box to kill you.
I love the Michigan fight song. It's one of the best in the country.
Of course, Mike Tomczak in enemy territory today. Ball comes loose and it's knocked through the end zone. It's a safety. And Ball State's defense, which has been much maligned this season, comes up big.
Well, Court Booker stripped the ball away from Mike Hart. Mike Hart has been known to carry the football without losing it. Tremendous turnaround for the Cardinals, but Court Booker, number 44 from the backside, strips the ball from Mike Hart. That ball wasn't tight, but Court Booker found a way to get it out of there. 600+ carries for Mike Hart without fumbling the football. One time you talk about it, next time it's for real.
Coming into today, he had not fumbled since September of 2004 against Iowa. And here he fumbles in the end zone. It goes through the side of the end zone, and it's a safety for Ball State, and they're going to get the football back.
And that sends echoes around the country for Indiana and Ohio State, who do play Michigan yet on the schedule, that he can put the football on the ground. He's telling the coaches exactly what happened. I don't think the ball was well secured to his chest when it did happen. But here's a disciplined running back that takes it to the truest level. Professionalism, carrying the football, being productive, and he is the heart and soul of this team.
We were talking with the coaches as the free kick is coming. And it's taken at the 34-yard line out to the 40, to the 45. A good dance there. And B.J. Hill is finally brought down. Good field position to start here for the Cardinals. The coaches said one of the reasons that Hart does not fumble the football is he's so strong with his upper body, but more importantly, it's his grip.
His grip is very strong. He has big hands. He has a big forearms. Obviously, the biceps are there. But when he clings it to his chest, which he didn't do in that particular play, and he's going to rise above it. That's like a quarterback throwing an interception. You get over it. You have greasy shoulders. Let it fall off. But the production will still be there. And it's nice that he has a little laugh about it because he believes in his confidence.
Well, this has got to give this young Ball State team a little confidence. But there goes Davis down to the ground. He is sacked. Prescott Burgess with the hit. Let's go down to Quinn Kessnick.
Clay, I spoke to Freddie Jackson, the running back coach of Michigan, before the game about ball security, and he just emphasized the fundamentals, and Michael Hart does also. They talk about the web or claw grip, and then the 5 points of emphasis being the fingers, the palm, the forearm, the bicep, and then having the ball against the ribs. And I think on that last carry, Hart didn't have the ball tight on his ribs.
Thank you very much, Quinn.
Good point. You know, it was loose. It was away from his body. Nice job on the sideline, Quinn.
Loss of 8 yards on that sack, and now Davis wants a timeout.
Ball State.
So a timeout called by the Cardinals as Davis goes over to the sideline to talk things over with offensive coordinator Stan Parrish. All right, we've got a timeout. 6:40 to go here in the first quarter. 7-2 Michigan.
Spell the word.
A first quarter Michigan touchdown drive and a Ball State safety. It's 7-2. 6:40 to go here first quarter after the timeout. Ball State looking at a second down and 18 at their own 38-yard line from the shotgun. Handoff and a good run back to the original line of scrimmage and then some close to midfield for B.J. Hill. And going into that play, Ball State -9 yards on the ground. And teams that play Michigan, that's about what you get.
Well, exactly. You got to take advantage. You got to run the football, even though you're going to get negative yardage or even 2 or 3 yards. But nice execution that last play by Ball State's offense. They ran exactly where Michigan came with the blitz.
Wolverines bring 3 men on 3rd and 7, throws it out to the far sideline and out of play. So Ball State will punt. Well, got decent field position to start that drive, but that defense for Michigan is so ferocious. And the Cardinals unable to do anything with the opportunity.
Well, one thing that Michigan defensively, Ron English, defensive coordinator, talked to us about, we don't want to give him time to read coverages. We want to get in his face. You saw that happen on the first down play. And that'll be a steady diet from Michigan. They're going to try to win at the line of scrimmage, the 4 down linemen, and they'll bring a linebacker every so often to kind of bring 5 guys towards the quarterback.
Greg Matthews is standing back at his 10-yard line to return this punt for the Wolverines as Chris Miller gets a good snap and gets it away. Here's Matthews from the 8-yard line. Good job on coverage by the Cardinals. He's brought down at the 15. 44-yard punt. We're at the Big House today in Ann Arbor, Michigan, as the second-ranked Wolverines are taking on their MAC opponent, Ball State, today. Alongside Mike Tomczak, and downstairs we have Quinn Kesnick. I'm Clay Matfitt. Ball State in white, Michigan in blue, and Ball State has never faced an opponent ranked this high.
Well, that's why they schedule the games. It's an opportunity, exciting opportunity for this young ball club of Ball State. They're already on the scoreboard.
Here's Mike Hart. They go right back to him after that fumble that led to a safety, but no pickup. Here's where we're at so far.
Well, Adrian Arrington did a nice reception there on 3rd down. He set up a nice long run by Jerome Jackson down to the 1-yard line, and then he finishes off. The senior scores the first touchdown for the Wolverines, and then we have the safety. Cortland Booker stripped it on Mike Hart's hands. Very uncharacteristic for Hart, but he'll sweat it off and get the ball back in his hands again.
Well, Booker is the pass rush specialist for the Cardinals, and he has 4 sacks and 10 tackles for loss. He's a good one. Here's Hart over the 20-yard line. He's going to be about 4 yards on that carry as Wendell Brown, the middle linebacker, steps up to make the tackle. Well, there is Booker.
Nice thing about Booker is they move him around the line of scrimmage. He lines up at the linebacker position, usually on the right side over Jake Long, but when that fumble did ensue in the end zone, he lined up on the right tackle, and he's their playmaker. He's their go-to guy. They don't like him in space that much. They want him to come off the edge. It'll be a nice matchup between Long and himself.
Junior out of West Lafayette, Indiana. Chad Henne on 3rd down and 5 wants to throw, has time to do so, but the pass is incomplete. He was looking for Greg Matthews, the true freshman, and Michigan is going to have to punt here.
Well, I think the fans are going to start getting restless here. Their first drive, 10 plays, 7 runs, 3 passes, and then they were backed up by a nice punt. The safety ensued. Ball State's going to get good field position. That's the main thing. When you come on the road, you're playing an overmatched opponent. You have to have field position, and you have to create turnovers for yourself.
Sultan Mesko to punt. Very good punter. His family left Romania when he was 11. He's offered scholarships to both Ohio State and Michigan. Chose the blue. B.J. Hill drifting back at the 25-yard line, starts his return. Pushed back hard and dropped at the 35. David Harris on punt coverage. Well, Michigan undefeated. September 16th at Notre Dame, big win. Mario Manningham, 3 TD catches. The defense held the Irish to 4 yards rushing. Then at the Metrodome on September 30th, Manningham was hurt from again. The Gophers did have some yards on the ground. The only team to go over 100 yards rushing against Michigan this year. At Penn State, played a close game, but Mike Hart was the difference. 17-10 the final. And then against Iowa, Hart had a couple of touchdown runs against the Hawkeyes. That game was 2 weeks ago. Those are the highlights. And it's been a good season for the Michigan Wolverines. They're looking for their 10th win here today.
You know, this team, Clay, is so complimentary of one another. They do a great job stopping the run. They do a great job running the football. But their special teams create opportunities for them on offense and defense. But I really believe they're missing the big play ability of Mario Manningham. He's the guy that stretches the field for them. Not that Arrington can't do it, but he's an explosive player, and they need to get him healthy and back in the lineup.
After the 2-yard run by Larry Bostic, it's 2nd down and 8. Out of the shotgun, Davis. Lob pass down to the near sideline, and pass interference is going to be called down there. Terry Moss, the intended receiver.
That was right in front of the defensive coordinator, Ron English. I mean, he saw the thing come right into his lap.
Looks like Morgan Trent's going to be the guilty culprit here.
Pass interference. Number 2 on the offense.
Wow, they call it on Moss.
That 15-yard penalty is assessed from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
That's why Coach Inglis didn't get too upset. He saw it coming back on the offensive receiver. But receivers went into line of scrimmage. They stretch the field. There's a lot of hand play right there. That's a ticky-tack call, in my opinion. That's one of those calls where you let them hand fight a little bit. But the ball was uncatchable.
Mike, it looked like you could have called either guy for pass interference on that play.
You know, it's a judgment call by the field judge. He saw it come right into his lap as well. And I'm sure Coach Hoke wants to get a second look at that. You can't back us up because we started out with good field position.
As you like to say, second down on a bus ride. 23 yards for a first down. And they hand off to Bostic. He's going to pick up a few, but it's going to bring up third and a long way to go. Lamar Woodley pushed him out of bounds.
Well, that's not the way you want to stay ahead of the chains if you're a young quarterback in Davis. You know, the offensive coordinator wants to give him an opportunity. Stan Parrish, the former coach at Michigan here, wants to give Nate Davis an opportunity to get into the game plan. And it's tough to do that when you're sitting there at 3rd and 22. But they're still going to throw the ball down the field. What the young quarterback can't do right here is take a sack and give Michigan even better field position.
The Cardinals 0 for 2 on third down so far today. Davis again off his back foot, comes underneath to Bostic, trying to find some blockers in front of him, and it's going to bring up fourth down in a punting situation as David Harris got to him, make the tackle.
You know, game of football is about adjustments. Michigan made their adjustments defensively, and also Ball State has made their adjustments by stopping the run. But Ball State coming in here, they want to make these defensive linemen run from sideline to sideline, screens and passes and draws. They want to tire them out so they have more advantages going down the field so they can't rush the passer.
Well, this Cardinals running game affected by the loss of their leading guy, McQuail Lewis, out for the year with a shoulder injury. A very potent running team anyway, but that certainly affected them. Here's Leon Hall back to return at the 15. Gets away from one tackler, but then caught up with from behind. He's dragged down at the 25-yard line. Well, here's a look at the ESPNU All-State Standings Review. The BCS, Ohio State and Michigan. Everyone's looking forward to that game in 2 weeks. Right now, 1-2. And the point differential, not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. And that game's going to be built as much as you can build it up. But they got to take care of business here today, next week, and everything will unfold. That's why they play the game. And
now there's Mario Manningham on the field, and the crowd recognizes that. Came back to practice this week after missing the past 3 games after that knee surgery. He gives them another deep threat. Maybe they'll go to him here. Henning being chased at the 20, tripped up, and he falls ahead to the 29-yard line. Jacob Jordan with the tackle. Well, Manningham, here's a look at him in real speed. Looks pretty good getting off the line.
Well, that's one thing that he was gifted with, is great speed. And he's continued to improve on that. But Ball State's fully aware. They go ahead and move their cushion back another 3 or 4 yards. But these numbers tell a story. With him, the 6 games at 33.5 points per game, opposed to 18 without him, and 13 touchdowns compared to 2. He is the explosive player that the Michigan offense is missing.
Henning has thrown 15 touchdowns this season, 9 of those to Manningham. Here's Henning. Picked off at the 30, the 20. This is going to be a touchdown for Ball State. Eric Keys, and the Cardinals are on top. Holy cow.
And wow. On top of holy cow. Nice job by Eric Keys. Poor job by Chad Henne. He didn't really look to coverage. He should have thrown that ball away, and I'm sure Lloyd Carr wants an explanation. Interceptions hurt you, but interceptions for a touchdown really kill an offense. Never saw Eric Keys come out on secondary position. He's playing a strong safety position. He just read the quarterback's sides the whole way. That's a ball that never should have been thrown in that area.
Well, he's not big, but he is the Cardinals' best player on defense. And he has NFL aspirations. Coaches think that is a very real possibility. The extra point by Jackson is good. And it is 9-7 Ball State.
People that are waking up right now and tuning into it, yes, it's real. Ball State 9, Michigan 7. They've done it with a short field. The defense has come up with 2 big turnovers in the last 2 series. Let's look at number 7 and be in the right-hand side of your picture. Just did a nice job floating with the quarterback's eyes. Probably a lot of film study throughout the course of the week, but a real headsy ball player. Keys is difference maker on their defense. He's always around the football, and once you catch the interception, Your goal is to get it in the end zone, and that's a defensive player being offensive with the interception.
Well, we knew that field position would be a big key here today for Ball State if they were going to stay in this football game. And Chris Miller, their punter, has done a nice job making Michigan look at a long field. And that ball was picked off at about the 35-yard line that allowed him to take it in for the touchdown.
I've had those conversations a number of times with the head coach, and the first question he'll ask is what you see out there. And I think it's what Chad Henne did not see. He didn't see the strong safety, just reading his eyes. And a note to Chad Henne, go ahead and find a free safety, keep him in the middle of the field before you throw out to the perimeter of the field. And that's the first touchdown allowed in the last 8 quarters by Michigan. And that's not a defensive give up, that's an offensive turnover.
Preston to the 20, to the 25, and out to the 26-yard line. Well, believe it or not, this is only the second time Michigan has trailed this year, and the first touchdown allowed in the last 8 quarters. A couple of turnovers today have paid great dividends for the Ball State Cardinals.
Well, talking to Brady Hoke during the course of the week, Clay, I think you and I recognize, he said we're coming in here to win the football game. We have to play a clean football game, play smart, and we want to take this game into the 4th quarter. And they've done their part for the first 15 minutes or 14 minutes of the 1st quarter.
Well, the Wolverines came into the game tied for first in the nation with just 8 turnovers. Already coughed it up a couple of times today. Good play there on first down. They hit Preston, makes the catch. He now has 39 receptions on the year. That leads the team. Chris Allen, the strong safety, over there to make the stop. But they're going to get a fresh 4 for Michigan.
Unless it's an extension of the running game. When you see off coverage, when you're the quarterback, those corners are playing 7, 8 yards back, and you have the talent of Breaston and Arrington and Manningham. That's a no-brainer throw. They should throw those at least 10 times today because they're getting positive yards on it every time they do it.
Preston and Arrington lined up to the right. Go back to Mike Hart. Big hole, midfield to the 40. One man to beat. And driven out at the 20-yard line. Eddie Burke, the free safety, caught up with him, but a huge run for Mike Hart.
He is resilient. He's a tough runner. He's focused, and he has tremendous balance. Talk about the running game is all about trust. Trusting the point of attack blocking, and when you get to that 2nd and 3rd layer in the defense, you just explode because that's free yardage. And Mike Hart does it better than anyone in the country.
42-yard run for Hart. Still, many feel he's among the top candidates to win this year's Heisman Trophy. Averaging 125 yards per game coming into today's contest. Gets it out over the 20-yard line, down at the 19. Burke and Cortland Booker on the stop. All right, that's the end of the quarter, but it's been a good one for the Ball State Cardinals. 9-7, even though Michigan is driving to start the second. The Michigan Wolverines, ranked number 2 in the country, got all they could handle and then some from the Ball State Cardinals in the 1st quarter. 9 points off turnovers. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Hart in the backfield. On 2nd down and 8, the Wolverines in the red zone and bangs his way inside the 15-yard line down at the 14. And there are the miscues. The fumble in the end zone by Hart led to a safety, and then the Henne interception brought back by Keys for a touchdown.
Well, very uncharacteristic in turnovers. They're number 1 in the country, and not turning the football over Michigan. And that's a huge turnaround today. You can't let a team come in here and dictate the tempo of the game.
Hart may end up riding that horse a little bit more than they planned on, because this is a football game. And the turnovers.
Well, opportunistic. Ball State comes in here. Cortland Booker strips it for a safety. That's 2 points. And look at Eric Keys on your left-hand side, number 7. Not only does he pick it, but he takes it back to the end zone for 6 points plus the extra points to make it 7. 9 points off off of turnovers, which we mentioned is a huge, huge display of what Ball State can do if Michigan messes around with the football.
Going to get a measurement here. Got to be impressed with this Ball State defense. Ranked 114th in the country coming in total D. And doing everything they can here today to make this a football game.
Well, keep in mind, these coaches know Michigan's offense, Michigan's defense real well. Coach Brady Hoke, the head coach of Ball State, worked here at Michigan for a number of years. He understands the mindset, the mentality that these Michigan players have. And Coach Stan Parrish, the offensive coordinator, knows what Michigan's defense does on a consistent basis.
Look at the turnover margin, plus 12 coming in, but already 2 in the first quarter.
Yeah, I said they were #1 in the country. They're #4 in the country, but you can't turn the football over if you want to be a championship team.
After the pickup of the first down, they go to their tight end, Carson Butler. He's tripped up and down at the 6-yard line. Keys got to him. But Butler, the team's top receiving tight end, 10 catches coming in, make it #11 for the redshirt freshman.
And they keep the tight ends in the offense to kind of make the defense defend everyone. They have explosion at the exterior with the receivers, but Carson Butler's got only 10 catches on the year. You still have to defend him, especially down in the red zone or the go zone, which I like to call it.
Hart, the lone setback. They're going to go to him. It's his 12th carry of the day. A lot of operating room. Hart already with 85 yards on the ground, even though you wouldn't know it because he had the turnover and Ball State has the lead. He's already been very effective on the ground.
And every time Mike Hart goes over 100 yards, Michigan is 16-1. Let's see if that stat holds true today. Already up to 83 yards. That's a pretty good average per carry.
This is already the 5th time Ball State's defense has forced Michigan into a 3rd down situation. Here's a touchdown. What a bullet. Henny to Butler. And the redshirt freshman puts Michigan back on top.
Well, that seemed like a 7-on-7 practice drill. What happens in practice, they put 7 defensive players against 7 offensive players without the offensive defensive lines. They hit the tight end there, but they lose them in coverage. Number 42, Brad Cease, has to stay with them. You contact him, and the tight end comes open a lot quicker than other receivers, especially when you get down towards the end zone.
Here's Rivas for the point after. And it's 14-9. Carson Butler. The touchdown pass from junior Chad Henne. And the Wolverines back in front. Carson Butler with his first touchdown catch of the year. It's the 16th touchdown pass of the season for Chad Henne. 8 plays, 74 yards. Just over 3.5 minutes. And Tyler Ecker and Mike Massey, the tight ends that are injured, giving Butler an opportunity.
Nice job by Chad Henne, regrouping the offense, coming back and having a nice scoring drive and a touchdown pass to boot.
Here's Terry Moss backpedaling into the end zone, and he's going to make a good decision. Kneels down. It's going to be 1st down and 10 from the 20. In the Big Ten, it looks like this. Michigan and Ohio State looking down at the rest of the pack. Wisconsin's had a good year. We've got a big game here today against Penn State. That matchup could decide a January bowl bid.
Well, I'm sorry, Clay. I like that Michigan, Ohio State at the top. You know, brings him back to the playing days in the early 80s when everything came down to the last game of the year. And that's where traditions were built.
How did you do in this building?
We were 1-1. Our team was 1-1. Won our freshman year, lost our junior year, and did well in Columbus.
That's pretty good in a place like this. Pass is broken up. Terry Moss, the intended receiver, but Morgan Trent there. Trent was a wide receiver before the start of last season and has adapted well to the cornerback spot the last couple of years.
Well, that's one thing about this Michigan secondary. You know, you look at their strengths. Their strengths are in the front 4. They have strengths at the 3 linebackers. And then if you get past those guys, they have 4 defensive backs that are extremely athletic, but they're extremely smart. They watch a lot of film, and they go ahead and jump on routes if they really, really anticipate it.
Nate Davis led his team to a nice win at Miami University last week. Hit as he throws, and the pass is dropped at the 22-yard line by Dante Love. And that's going to bring up 3rd down and 10.
Well, he's starting to feel a little pressure. I mean, Ball State, what they do so well is they throw the football down the field, but look at the left-hand side of your screen. You can't put a running back on Lamar Woodley.
He's just a monster.
That's a tremendous mismatch, and I think when you look at the pass protection for Ball State, I would slide the line of scrimmage to the left or wherever Woodley is and have a back chip for him. But their big tight end, Darius Hill, number 88 for Ball State, has pretty much been a non-factor so far.
Woodley leads the Big Ten with 11 sacks. Almost got a sack in this non-conference game. On 3rd down, going for the home run, and it's well incomplete. The intended receiver, the tight end, Darius Hill, way downfield. So Ball State now 0 for 4 on 3rd down today.
Well, that's where if they're going to be in this game or try to win this game, they have to do some conversions on 3rd down. You can't just throw the ball up there to a dead space down the field and expect to be successful. But give credit to Michigan defense for being at the right place at the right time.
Chris Miller to punt. Breston back for Michigan, the all-time punt return leader in Big Ten history. But he didn't muff a punt last week in that homecoming game against Northwestern.
Against 50-mile-an-hour winds, too. It's very difficult to field a punt.
And wet. And penalty flag down. It's going to be against Ball State.
False start. Number 65 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
I don't think it matters, though, for Chris Miller. Ranks 4th in the country with an average of 46.6 yards per kick. And Lloyd Carr just raves about Miller.
Well, that's one thing. You know, Ball State has always had a solid kicking game. They have a punter in the NFL named Berger that's doing a nice job for the Chicago Bears. But this guy, he does have a leg, and I think Coach Hope recognized that with us early in our meetings.
It's a good kick away here. Great hang time to the 35. Here's Breston to bring it back to the 40. Good move out to the 45 and brought down at the 46-yard line. It's a good field position here for the Wolverines when we come back. 14-9, Michigan on top. 12:02 to go. "127 years and counting. The Michigan program established in 1879. It's the 6th oldest football program in NCAA history, trailing Princeton, Rutgers, Yale, Harvard, and Pennsylvania, but nobody else. And the Blue enjoying a great season this year, looking to go to 10-0 right now on top of Ball State, 14-9. Look at the all-time victories. 8:59 could come today.
On top of that, 42 Big Ten titles, 11 national championships, and 31 straight bowl appearances. It's pretty good domination by this Big Ten team.
Hart gets close to midfield. Actually, Jerome Jackson with the carry. And Muncie, Indiana is the home of Ball State. Enrollment to almost 18,000. David Letterman among the notable alumni.
The David Letterman.
The David Letterman. The Tonight Show.
Right. Been there. Had a chance to sit in the green room one time. Never had a chance to meet him. He doesn't wear any socks.
I didn't know that.
As a footnote.
Mario Manningham back on the field for Michigan. He's lined up wide right. On 2nd down and 7. Steps up at the 40. Now he's going to run across midfield to the 45 and driven down hard at the 44-yard line. Wow, packing a punch, Eric Keys. Let's go down to Quint Kessner.
Clay, on Wednesday's a late night show, Letterman promised that today's game would be fraught and is going to be taught. He predicted a 6-0 Ball State victory. Said they score a touchdown and miss the extra point. He said they may stop playing college football after this game. He showed a picture of a sweet-looking Cardinal and an angry Wolverine side by side and said the Cardinal was the fiercest robin-sized bird in the world. He did not make a top 10 list.
Well, his prediction a little bit off. It's already 14-9 and maybe more now. Here is Brandon Minor with his first carry of the day, and he's inside the 10-yard line, driven out by Eddie Burke. Minor, the team's 3rd leading rusher, almost had his 2nd touchdown of the season.
Well, this play was set up by formation. They put 2 receivers to the field, and they had no secondary support to the left-hand side. Did a nice job by that 2 tight end formation of Butler and long on the left side, but Minor, talk about explosion. The true freshman from Richmond, Virginia. That'll increase his average per carry
by 34 yards. First down and goal for the Wolverines. They go back to Minor. Nice move inside the 5. He's tripped up there. Minor had a rare Michigan turnover last week with a fourth quarter fumble, and sometimes now that's enough to get you in the doghouse.
It certainly is. I mean, coaches do not want players on the field. They can't have ball security. And Minor, the true freshman, realized that pretty early. You got Mike Card. He talked to Mike Card about how to carry the football, what happened in that particular play. But you know that Brandon Minor is not going to put the ball on the ground again if he wants to see playing time on the field.
Play clock down to 5. Minor swallowed up. In case you just joined us, yeah, it's a close game. It's 14-9, even though Michigan's driving here. Here's Jerome Jackson. He was the workhorse on the opening drive for Michigan. Then Hart turned it over right out of the end zone for a safety, and then Eric Keys with the interception of a Chad Henne pass brought it back for the score. The Cardinals looking good in that first quarter, had the lead after one. Then in the second quarter, Michigan turning it up a little bit. Here's Henne with the pass to the tight end Carson Butler. And that's where we're at, 14-9. Just over 9 minutes to go here in the first half, and now we've got a timeout on the field. And Ball State wants its second timeout of the half.
Well, they want to regroup. They didn't have the right personnel grouping in there as Michigan went to their 4 wide receiver package. But I'm pretty impressed with Chad Henne. He took a pretty good hit on that scramble on that first down play. He's been able to battle back from that initial interception, and I'm sure going over to the sideline talking to Lloyd Carr, he had his conversation and got a little smile on his face, said, "Coach, don't worry about it. I'm going to battle back and get this offense back in the end zone." He's done just that, and he's really been the leader in the huddle. He has great huddle presence and great field presence. And he's done a nice job managing the football throughout his whole season here.
And another important point, if you're a Michigan Wolverines fan, is that man, number 86, Mario Manningham, making his way back to the field today. He's been in on a couple of plays. Gives him another deep threat. He missed 3 games after that knee surgery. Their big play guy, and that's one thing about this Michigan team. They were banged up a lot last year. They had guys that went under the knife. About 21 different players went under the knife.
Yeah, Coach Carr was talking to us about that, and all 21 guys did have surgery, and they came back to become instrumental parts of this team this year. But that's all part of college football. Injuries do occur. It happened to Manningham, and the biggest thing for him, that 3-game lapse, is to get his feet and legs back under him, get into that game-type speed. It's a lot different when you rehab, because the game of football is pretty grueling on the body as well as the legs.
Been banged up at times this year, but not as bad as last year. Getting Manningham back today, very important. Here's Henne, looking to the end zone. Now brings it down, now throws to the back of the end zone, has a man in and out of the hands of Preston. Steve Preston almost caught his first touchdown pass of the season. He's been a little inconsistent catching the football at times.
Well, Carson Butler, I think, was the intended receiver there. Preston just, you look at Henne, he's throwing right for Butler, and Preston slides by, trying to take it away from him. But he definitely wants a touchdown reception there. It's one of those calls, I got it, you take it, type of things.
There's Henne. You could tell he wanted Butler for the second time today. And now it looks like the Wolverines are going to have to settle for 3. Garrett Rivas is on. He's 13 for 16 this season. This is going to be a 22-yard chip shot for Rivas. Right between the eyes. 17-9 now as Michigan tacks on 3 more. 9:03 to go here at the Big House. We're in the first half. Michigan at Ball State. It's a cool day in Ann Arbor, Michigan, the home of the Big House, the home of the Michigan Wolverines. Today, getting a test from the Ball State Cardinals. Scored 9 points in the first quarter off turnovers, making this a game here in the first half. It's 17-9 with 9:03 to go here in the first half. Alongside Mike Tomczak, a former Ohio State quarterback in enemy territory, I'm Clay Matvick, and you Take a look at the rushing yards, Mike. That's been the story of the game here in the first half.
Certainly has. An inefficiency of Ball State to move the football offensively as well.
Here comes Terry Moss, and he's driven out of bounds on that Ball State sideline. First down and 10 for Nate Davis and company, and they're going to have to try and get something going on the ground as well. They've thrown the ball a lot, haven't been very effective doing that. They need to establish some kind of running game.
Well, I think Stan Parrish, the offensive coordinator, will go ahead and continue to stick with the game plan. I mean, they're a down the field football team throwing the football, but you can still mix in a few quick passes that kind of simulate runs.
First ever meeting between Michigan and Ball State. This is a tough place to play for anybody, but especially Ball State. They're not used to these kind of crowds. A good run there, though, on first down for Larry Bostic. David Harris brings him down. Another crowd of over 100,000 on hand. And they did do some noise preparation in Muncie this week, getting ready for this game. Played last year at Iowa and Auburn. They said, well, that gave us a taste of big crowds, but I don't think there's anything like playing in Ann Arbor.
No, there's not. You can't simulate that if you're a MAC team. They don't play in front of large crowds, but it's a mindset. You can hear the cadence if you want to.
On second down and 1, it looks like they may have picked up the first down. Larry Bostic tiptoes along the near sideline, driven out by Brandon Engelman.
You talk about dominance of Michigan's defense, but the inefficiency on offense to move the football. 4 plays and a punt, 3 plays and a punt. All the scoring has happened through the defense of Ball State. You'll take points wherever we can get them, but you got to be a complementary team. You got to help your defense out because they're doing their part. Move the football or change the field position.
Nate Davis has passed for over 1,200 yards this season, having a tough day today. Forced out of the pocket, chased as he throws. It's out of bounds.
I tell you, I'm impressed with this David Harris. He's a leading tackler on the defense. He's all over the field. The senior from Grand Rapids. I mean, he just on a key dog blitz. He's got the back end coverage. As soon as the back blocks, he continues pursuing the quarterback. That's just a smart, effortless football player right there.
Semifinalist for the Butkus Award. Coaches challenged him this year to go from being a good linebacker to being a great one. I think he's answered that challenge.
Well, I know his position coach, Steve Szabo, will get it out of him. He's a coach that determines a lot from these guys and expects a lot. And when you're at Michigan, you expect to do things greatly.
Showing blitz, and here they come. Down he goes. Nate Davis hit by Harris.
They better figure out their protection woes. I know Coach Hope talked to us during the course of the week. He goes, we have to protect our quarterback. We're going to get the ball out quickly, but it comes down to one-on-one matchup at the line of scrimmage. And you see David Harris there converging late, but Branch did a nice job inside pushing. Taylor did a nice job inside pushing. They're an effortless group in the front interior defensive line, and that's been their pretty much staple all year long defensively.
Harris, a fifth-year senior, you know he wants to have a good game today to go out in style. Out of the shotgun, Davis underneath, met immediately. Chris Graham, big hit. The 5'11", 220-pound junior out of Indianapolis.
Good job of recognition, but a nice job again. 3 and out. Michigan has done that 5 times, 6 times now. The inability of Ball State to move the football has allowed this defense to kind of pin back their ears and get after the quarterback. And they do squat a lot on coverages, but more importantly, they get right after the quarterback. They go after his landmark, where his drop point is. And it's just a relentless group of guys. Good team defense.
Preston is back. Miller got it away. Good a punt as he had the last time. He had a 50-yarder his last kick. Preston does a nice job to get away from one tackler and then finally upended at the 48-yard line. Well, a full day of college football continues on ESPNU at 3:30 Eastern. It's a Big Ten battle as Purdue takes on the Michigan State Spartans. College football presented by Allstate on ESPNU coming up later today. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. Well, John L. Smith is going to finish out the season. Ironically, he can still get that Spartans team to a bowl game. They need 2 more wins. They've got Purdue today. We've got Minnesota next week at home, and then they finish out the season at Penn State. But John L. Smith could end up finishing up the year with a bowl trip.
I know two things. He's a great person, and I just can't figure out that team for the life of me. The last 3 years, they've just fallen apart after they come out with a strong showing the first 3 games. I mean, it's an enigma. I mean, these guys go out there. The players play the game. Coaches coach. But for John L. Smith, he'll land somewhere, but he's done a lot of wonderful things for these young kids' lives.
Lansing about an hour up the road. East Lansing, the home of the Spartans, and that's where we're going to be next week for the noon game. Minnesota coming in to take on Michigan State.
And they have a quarterback, Drew Stanton, I thought was a potential Heisman candidate, but obviously when you don't have success as a team, you won't get as much recognition at the quarterback spot.
Mario Manningham back out on the field, lined up in the near slot. Preston goes in motion. Play action. Henny rolling out from the 40-yard line. Gets it off underneath. And Preston still on his feet to the 40. And it's a first down for Steve Preston. They call those yak yards. Yards after the catch and then yak again after contact. Preston doing a nice job on both.
Well, nice deception play. Good formation alignment. Good movement of Preston. They come from your left-hand side of the screen all the way to the right. And you get your big play athletes out in space with the football. And that's nothing more than a punt return for Preston out in the open field.
He was brought down by Brad Cease, a guy who blew out his left knee during spring practice in April and has made an amazing comeback. First down and 10 at the 40-yard line of Ball State. Here's Brandon Miner. And he's off to the races. Dives to the end zone. Did he get in? No signal from the official. It's a 40-yard run. He got in. A 40-yard touchdown run from Miner.
Explosive plays in the passing game, explosive plays in the running game. Ball State has no secondary support. But they do have it. He's getting blocked. He's not getting off his block, but a nice effort by Brandon Miner getting the Wolverines back on the board. Don't do that, son. Don't put the ball out like that and give the official an opportunity to overlook that.
Freshman out of Richmond, Virginia. And Michigan has opened this one up. Here's Rivas again. And it's 24-9 Wolverines. 4:37 to go here in the first half. A 40-yard touchdown run by that man, Brandon Miner. Hart, Miner, Jackson. A lot of guys involved here today out of that Michigan backfield. The Michigan possessions here in the first half have been a little inconsistent. They sputtered out of the gate here today. And now a 3-play, 52-yard drive in 1 minute and 36 seconds.
Well, they had a little lull in the middle of this bookend touchdowns. You got a fumble after the second series, a punt, and then an interception for a touchdown. But since then, they've responded for 17 unanswered points. That's winning football right there, and they expect that here at Michigan. When you play this well, when you have the character of players here, the expectation level and the accountability from each individual is paramount.
Rivas is going to kick away. Terry Moss, averaging 22 yards per return, is back at his own 5. There you see Coach Hoke. I like the way this thing started out. His attitude has probably changed here. Here's Terry Moss. 15, does a little dance out to the 20, the 25, a good return close to the 30-yard line. Well, tonight, college football on ESPNU continues with 2 more games in prime time. First at 7 Eastern, Calvin Johnson and Reggie Ball lead the 20th ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets against the NC State Wolfpack. And at 10, Howard takes on South Carolina State in a MEAC clash. College football prime time presented by Citi on ESPNU coming up tonight.
I like that Georgia Tech team. They fell short a couple weeks ago against Clemson. They got blown out down there, Death Valley. They got some players on their offensive side of the ball.
Strung out to the near sideline, and now penalty flags come in. This is going to be a penalty on Chris Graham, it looks like, for a hit late.
after the play. Late hit out of bounds. Number 37 on the defense. 15 yards will be tacked on to the end of the run and an automatic first down.
Now that hurts. Ball State occasionally does that with Dante Love. They try to create ways to get him the football. They call him the love bug. And a nice run there, but then Graham makes a mistake with the late hit.
Well, Graham's in there for the somewhat injured Prescott Burgess. That's one of those things. You could do it on the other team's sideline, but when you do it in front of Coach Carr, you might get a mouthful. If not from him, then from Ron English, the defensive coordinator.
From the 48-yard line, there's Dante Love, and he's got enough for a first down. Let's go down to Quint Kesnick.
Clay, one of the themes this week for Michigan is exhaustion and fatigue. You talked to Coach Lloyd Carr. He said after the Northwestern game, we looked tired. Keep in mind, the Wolverines are playing their 10th straight game without a bye. Jake Long, their tackle, said they cut back practice this week by about 10 minutes. On Tuesdays, they were in shells, and a lot of the guys are, getting treatment almost 24/7 to try to stay fresh.
With this 12-game schedule, there's no bye weeks now. They've been going at it since early August. It takes a toll on you after a while.
Here's Love, back to Davis. Now Davis looking to throw, and he's going to have to run. After all of that, they're going to pick up about 4 yards. Brandon Harrison, the cornerback, caught up with him. But they're trying to do just about everything right now to get something going offensively.
Well, these are called gadget plays, and a lot of times when you play an opponent that's a little bit better than you, you try to catch him by the element of surprise. Love was a former quarterback by himself. But Nate Davis does a nice job being smart, not trying to force it down the field in the coverage. But Brandon Harrison, a defensive back, was Johnny on the spot to negate that. Could have been a huge game.
You got to tip your hat to that Michigan secondary for not getting burned on that play. Now an inside handoff, and they go to B.J. Hill, the sophomore out of Lanham, Maryland. Team's leading rusher now that McQuail Lewis is out. But guess who's there? David Harris to wrap him up.
Well, he's everywhere. But it's nice that Ball State can come out here and try to get something going, get another set of downs. We've got a third down situation and 2 coming up. And they haven't converted a third down today. They got a couple first downs, but as far as third down conversions, it's an over.
It's a big play here for Ball State. They'd like to get another score here before halftime. Davis out of the gun. Play action, quick release, has it up for the first down. Michael Steinhaus, the tight end, second-year starter at tight end for the Cardinals. Not a big receiving tight end like Darius Hill is, but, they don't mind going to him once in a while.
No, ball control. You're down in distance, 3rd and 2. They convert. But it's a nice job at Ball State, trying to get some rhythm before they go into the locker room at halftime. And I do believe Michigan started with the football early in this game. So if you get something positive here right before halftime, knowing you get the football coming out of the locker room, pay some dividends down the road.
A reverse. Here goes Dante Love. Stiff arm inside the 25, out at the 22-yard line. Morgan Trent escorted him out of bounds, but again, another gadget play, so to speak, on this series.
Well, I'm sure Coach Parrish has a few gadget plays. He knows his defense pretty well, but give credit to Morgan Trent. Usually in games like this, we have more speed on the outside. You see these go to the house for a touchdown, but it's a nice controlled drive. You don't want to give Michigan an opportunity to get the ball back because they've scored in their last 3 possessions. I think Coach Hope will be content here with getting something positive on the board before they go in the locker room.
Second down and 4. Davis feeling the heat. Down he goes. Ball comes loose. Still loose. And it looks like Ball State has recovered at the 34-yard line.
Nice job by number 52, the center, Dan Gerberry. And that's Johnny on the spot. I mean, that's a turnover that could have happened for Michigan. It could have negated this drive.
I think Terrence Taylor stripped it loose.
Now, it's interesting. Anytime a fumble occurs, that ball is not round. It's not going to go to the same spot where you think it's going to go. It's going to wobble around there for a while. And that was a missed opportunity by Michigan's defense.
So now Ball State goes from 2nd and short to 3rd and 16.
Hello.
There's a 3rd sack by Michigan today. Underneath. And out of bounds. And now it's going to be a long field goal attempt, or they're going to go on 4th down here.
You know, Larry Bostic, their running back, he's had a lot of receptions coming out of the backfield just like that. Checkdowns or screens, 36 receptions coming into today's game. He's definitely an asset in the passing game, and that's why this quarterback has had good success early in his career.
Should go for it on the 4th down, Mike?
I would take the points. Take the points. It's tough to push it down the field on 4th and 10 against this defense. You have a good field goal kicker. Percentages are in favor of him.
Brian Jackson from 46 yards out. It's got the distance. And it's good. Brian Jackson. Now 12 of 13 on field goal attempts this year. His career long is 54. He had a 52-yarder earlier this season, so he's got a good leg. And you said it, Ball State's kicking game may be as good as you're going to find anywhere in the country.
You know, it's one of those kicks where, is it going to get there? You're trying to push it forward over that crossbar. Nice drive by Ball State, responding, coming back, and that's positive. You know, positive points on the board at 24-12 is going to allow this team to regroup in the locker room and come out with a game plan for the next 30 minutes of the second half.
Well, coming up at the half here on ESPNU, stalemate in Madison. It means that that game between Penn State and number 17 Wisconsin is a close one. We'll talk about that. The decline of traditional powers, what does that mean? You'll find out. And up close with Eric Ainge. That's all coming up on SportsCenter U at the half.
Well, Eric Ainge has quietly had a nice year for Tennessee, hasn't he?
Yeah. Volunteers. Philip Fulmer, always a threat.
Yeah, he was feeling the same pain that Lloyd Carr felt last year with a disappointing season, going 7-5. But they've come back and responded.
So now here's Jackson after that field goal to boot it away. Preston is back. And he's quickly brought down at the 22-yard line. There is going to be 50 seconds on the clock here when Henne brings the offense out.
You know, Clay, I'm going to jump in here because that's instant offense. That's the first play of offense on a kick return. And you got a high-powered specialty guy like Steve Breaston. You got to help him out. You got to give him some running room. And there's guys that aren't accountable on the kickoff return team, and I'm sure they're going to be talked to on Monday when they get back in the meetings. That's the first play of offense. You got to be more explosive.
To keep it on the ground here. Jerome Jackson out over the 30-yard line. He has undoubtedly got more work in this game than he has in any first half this season.
Yeah, we talked about in the first quarter how left-handed dominant that Michigan's offense is. And I'm not charting it, but I would say at least 80% of it has gone to the left side, but you still have to stop it.
Now we've got a timeout here. And talking about that left side, you got Adam Krause and Jake Long, that left tackle, number 77. He's the team captain. He overcame a bad ankle injury last year. But that left side of that line for Michigan.
Yeah, Jake Long, we visited with him yesterday. And, you know, for a junior captain to be named captain, that says a lot but from your teammates. And he's worked extremely hard. You know, our producer, Casey Carter, said, that's the biggest man I've ever seen. And he filled up that chair.
He's exaggerating.
He engulfed that chair, didn't he?
Well, let's go down to Quinn Kesnick, who has more on Jake Long.
Clay, he's a lot bigger in pads than he was yesterday in our meetings, I tell you that much. He talked about the shift in Michigan going from a man blocking scheme to a zone blocking scheme, and how you know, he's lost 20 pounds and his mobility is really being tested in that scheme, and how that really fits the running back Mike Hart and his cutback ability. So I really thought it was interesting how you see the whole shift in him personally and in schemes here at Michigan.
Long, a native of Lapeer, Michigan. He watched that 97 team win a national championship. He's enjoying the ride this year, hopes he can do the same thing with this year's team.
A lot of similarities between 97 and this team here.
Henne. Some contact down there, no penalty flags. Just trying to hit Breaston. Trey Lewis on the coverage, number 12, the team's leader in pass breakups. As we take a look at Jake Long work on the left side.
Well, I've never played offensive lineman, but it's all about hands and feet. And a lot of times your body goes where your head goes. Jake Long did a nice job there keeping his head up, sitting back. I mean, that's a mountain of a man. And some of my dear friends have been former linemen in college and professional football, and I respect the heck out of these linemen because they're the salt of the earth.
Well, the operative word there is friends. You want those guys on your side.
And they're humble, and they're just good individuals.
Manningham on the field, but they're going to run. Good move. Here comes Jackson to the near sideline. And got down to the 40-yard line. 2 seconds still remain here in the first half.
Well, I don't know what Ball State did there. They only had 3 guys at the line of scrimmage. They gave Michigan ample running room for Jackson to get down the field and at least getting field goal opportunity. If they think they're too far out, they might go to that, what they call the 3-receiver Hail Mary. So they have a few options here, Michigan does.
After that 30-yard pickup, the Wolverines calling a timeout. See if Manningham comes out on this play. Likely Breston, maybe Arrington will be out there. Let's take a look at the BCS standings one more time. Ohio State and Michigan coming up in less than 14 days. In the paper here in Ann Arbor, they've got a daily countdown.
We could drink a lot of cups of coffee talking about this whole scenario. I mean, everything's going to be played out in 2 or 3 weeks. The disappointing thing for Michigan and Ohio State, there's going to be a loser. And also, that's the end of their season. November 18th is the end of their season. So in the voters' minds, they're going to be docile for a couple of weeks. And you're going to have the SEC, ACC championship games coming up. And it's going to be fresh in the voters' minds.
West Virginia at number 3 on those BCS standings for now.
Yes.
But after the loss to Louisville this week, we got to assume that they're going to tumble down a bit.
Well, they're going to fall down. You know, it just happened. Look, we saw earlier in the season what happened at Texas. Texas moved down 6 spots after they're number 2 in the country. And I'm sure Coach Rich Rodriguez is extremely disappointed. But there's that flag flying real high. It has a lot of letters in there, the OH and the IO in the middle.
Easy now. Our window's open up here. I don't want anybody to hear you. And another whistle and another timeout. This time it's Ball State.
Ball State.
And they're out of timeouts. How about Mario Manningham? He's been in about half a dozen plays here today. Has yet to get a touch, but I have a feeling that's going to change before the day wears out.
Well, I don't know what the coaches planned for him to get him X number of plays, but remember that little play that Chad Henne had where it's a now pass. He takes the ball from center and throws it out to the perimeter. I'd like to see him get the ball in his hands because there's nothing better than having familiarity with the game. The ball in his hands, being explosive down the field. And this guy's just a tremendous athlete.
He epitomizes big play guy. All but one of his 15 career touchdowns have come from outside the red zone. So when they put it up top, they're going deep for the big strike. They go to that guy.
Well, I heard John Cooper in the studio saying 22 yards per reception. I mean, any quarterback would love to have that in their offense. Yeah. And he's a difference. It's a glaring thing to me that he's a difference maker for this offense. And if they're going to play competitive football against Ohio State, he's going to be the difference maker, I believe.
Well, we said it earlier. Of Henne's 15 touchdown passes coming into this game, 9 had gone to Manningham. So 2 seconds to go. Let's see what Henne has up his sleeve. 3 receivers lined up. Henne steps up. Now comes short. He's got his tight end Butler. Butler rambles to the 12-yard line, and that's going to do it.
Good for the stats, though, from the quarterback. It's not an interception.
And Butler pads his stats from the first half. He had a touchdown. All right, our score at the break, 24-12, Michigan. Ball State hanging in there. Let's go to Mike Gleason and John Cooper with Sports Center U.
Well, Coach, all the talk about the big game in Columbus 2 weeks from now. I guess Michigan's focus early on wasn't quite what it was supposed to be.
I don't think Lloyd Carr is real happy with the way they're playing in the first half. First of all, I thought they would get the ball more to Mario Manningham. I don't think he's touched it in the first half. Turned the ball over twice. I mean, Hart fumbled one time. Henne threw an interception. That's not like that in Michigan football.
You got to wonder if Chad Henne was looking. There was 2 receivers over there when he threw it right to the Ball State Eric Keys, if he was looking for Manningham.
I think he had a bad read. There's no question about the safety. It looked like he had half-field coverage behind the corner. You don't throw it in the flat in that situation.
Well, Michigan looking for their 10th victory, up 24-12 at the half. When we come back, we'll head for Madison. But the Badgers are hosting Penn State today. The Badgers looking for a 9-1 start, but the Lions have won 4 of the last 5. A win, and both would be tied for 3rd in the Big Ten. Highlights coming up. Welcome back to SportsCenter U. John Cooper, Mike Gleason here. Number 17, Wisconsin avoided the rude awakening against Illinois last week. Now slugging it out in the trenches with Penn State and Camp Randall up in Madison. Let's take a look at some of the action. John Stocco, he's 27-7 as the starting quarterback for the Badgers. Goes down and finds William Hartman, 18-yard pickup for the Badgers. Second quarter, Andrew Corliss now. Big catch here for Penn State. Nice arm by Anthony Morelli. 3-3. Here comes Hartman now with a touchdown pass in the end zone.
Stocco, I think, is the most underrated quarterback in the Big Ten Conference, Mike. That was his 15th touchdown pass of the season.
All right, so it's 10-3. Wisconsin on top, trying to get to 9-1. They still have a 12-1 record in their sights. Wisconsin 16-1 at home. You see Hill, just 14 rushes, 68 yards. He's had some nerve problems in his neck. Vanderbilt celebrating after Louisville's victory over West Virginia on Thursday night, but just on top, 15-6 on Vandy.
Game played in Nashville. A lot of people thought Vanderbilt might keep that game a little closer than what it is. Florida might be looking ahead.
You see Chris Leak there, 6 of 8, 80 yards, but he does have a rushing touchdown for the Gators. Alabama trailing Mississippi State 17-10. ACC, big game here for Clemson as well as Maryland. Maryland just one loss in the division. Will Proctor only hit on 40% last week. Finds Chancey Stuckey for 60 yards. Remember, Stuckey was out with an injury earlier. Good to have this guy back.
Obviously, a blown coverage there by Maryland. You don't leave a guy that wide open unless you just blow the coverage.
Sam Hollenbach to Darius Hayward-Bay. Picks up the first down. Leads to Hollenbach to Danny Aquendo for the touchdown here. And Maryland up 7-3 at this juncture. And right now it's 7-6. Clemson down right now at halftime. And you see the first downs, Clemson just 6-11. Maryland, despite their 3-1 conference record, ranks 100th against the run in the country. And this Clemson backfield has redemption on their mind. But you see Davis just 7 rushes there for 53 yards. Coach, growing up in Powell, Tennessee, coaching at Tulsa, Arizona State, then Ohio State. How strange is it to see this graphic? That's a who's who in college football, all unranked this year.
These guys, you know, there are a lot of peaks and valleys in this coaching profession, and, you know, people got to realize with 85 scholarships, there's a lot of parity right now. There's a lot of teams that, you know, are not going to win as many games every year as the fans expect them to win.
That graphic almost surreal. Let's go to the Big 12. Missouri goes from Oklahoma, then to Nebraska, and now in the first quarter, Zach Taylor to Maurice Purify, and he throws a nice pass to Terrence Nunn for the touchdown. Nebraska opens up a 10-0 lead at that juncture. Still in the second now. Here's Purifoy. 7-yard pass for the touch. Ooh, nice adjustment on the football coach.
Nice touch. That's not like Nebraska throwing the football. Normally you see the big red line up there and get physical and run the ball, but with the new coaching staff, they're doing a better job throwing the ball down the field.
Now this is Bo Ruud with the pick, and he returns the ball down to the 18-yard line for the Huskers. Big game. Both are 3-2 in the Big 12 North, and no doubt in the driver's seat. It's halftime, 27-6. Chief Osceola trying to get something going for the Noles down in Tallahassee against Virginia. Jamel Sewell picked off by Tony Carter, and it's a pick 6.
Bobby Bowden got that football team ready to play down in Tallahassee. That is a tough place to play. I've been down there before, Mike.
Ryan Wiggins punt blocked by Eli Charles, and FSU recovers down inside the 5-yard line, and it leads to Lorenzo Booker. A 1-yard plunge, and Florida State at only 4-4 on the year. They're up 17-0 at home against Virginia at halftime. Texas Tech entertaining the Bears of Baylor today early. Graham Harrell, 20 yards down to Edward Britton for the touchdown, and Texas Tech one game under 500 in league play, up 7-0. Blake Szymanski, great 56-yard pass to Trent Shelton. He gets in for the score. Baylor ties it up.
This is a good job of this Baylor defense. You know, last week Texas Tech has ran up and down the field against a very good Texas football team. So good job of Baylor's defense.
Tech trying to answer. Harrell picked off this time by James Todd. And this will set up a Blake Szymanski touchdown. This time he runs it in out of the shotgun. And Baylor opens up a 14-7 lead on Texas Tech. 28-14 right now. Tech on top of the Baylor Bears as Tech has come back. All right, how about Brian Cupido? Just going off up in the Dome against Indiana. There's the touchdown pass to Eric Decker. It's 7-0. Cupido to Matt Spaeth, 23 yards, and suddenly it's 21-0, Coach.
This game surprised me a little bit. I thought it'd be a lot closer than that. Here you can see a big tight end from Minnesota wide open coming across the middle on the crossing route.
And Cupido's not finished yet. Still in the second, 21-zip. Cupido finding Ernest Wheelwright. This one goes 64 yards for the touchdown. Nobody around him.
obviously somebody in the secondary blew that coverage. Looked like they were trying to stop the running game. Left the wide receiver wide open down the middle.
All right, let's go down to Tampa. Pitt and South Florida going at it today. Justin Tichy with the fake punt takes it 11 yards for the first down. And then Matt Grothe, Amari Jackson, little reverse action. Torius Jackson for the touchdown here. South Florida leads at 7-0 at this point. Let's move to the second quarter. Grothe showing some Fran Tarkenton scrambling around. They'll pick up 24 yards for the first down here for the Bulls. And now the South Florida Bulls are driving against the Pitt Panthers. And it's Grothe again, keeps it. And he takes it in for the touchdown. And South Florida on top of Pitt, 14-3 at halftime. A little surprising there.
A little bit of a shocker going on down in Orlando.
How about the Iowa Hawkeyes needing a victory to get back to 500 in Big Ten play, taking on Northwestern. C.J. Boucher to Andrew Brule, 49 yards downfield. Boy, he got behind the secondary easily there. And Tyrell Sutton, off year, considering the kind of year he put up last year as a rookie, takes it in 5 yards for the touchdown. Northwestern up 7-0. And then second quarter, Drew Tate back. He's got the thumb taped up. He's wearing a glove. He's got a plastic covering on it, and he gets hit from the blind side.
Tate's banged up. You better protect your quarterback's backside. When he throws the football, you know he can see the rush coming from in front. You got to protect his backside.
Well, look at the concentration there by Eric Peterman on C.J. Boucher's pass. No points against Northwestern. It's 14-0 Cats on top of the Hawkeyes. Game you're watching on ESPNU, 24-12. Number 2 Michigan on top of Ball State. The scheduling gets better by the week on ESPNU. Following our trip to number 2 Michigan, we head for East Lansing, where the Spartans take the field for the first time since learning John L. Smith is in his final stretch as their head coach. It's Purdue, Michigan State at 3:30. At 7 o'clock, we head for the ACC. NC State at home against Georgia Tech. Wolfpack, 3-game skid, but they've won their last 4 against ranked opponents. Then at 10 o'clock Eastern, we go from North Carolina to South Carolina for the Howard South Carolina State contest. Well, the Tennessee Volunteers currently lead the SEC in passing and have the second most potent scoring offense in the league, most called the best in the country. Last week, Tennessee fans held their breath when Eric Ainge, their quarterback, injured an ankle and then let out a sigh of relief heard well beyond Rocky Top when he was cleared to play today against LSU. David Cutcliffe, Tennessee's offensive coordinator, has been the talk of the Volunteer Nation, but at a school rich in quarterback tradition. Mike Hall tells us Ainge is starting to etch his name in the Volunteer history book.
Heath Schuler, Peyton Manning, and now Eric Ainge. Following a dismal sophomore campaign, Tennessee's junior signal caller Eric Ainge is enjoying a breakout season, leading the Vols to a 7-1 record, and he has one person to thank.
He's worked some with my mechanics, but I think any quarterback will tell you that good mechanics come with good understanding.
Watch flipping it that much, Eric. Throwing strikes, quarterbacks, throwing strikes. Little things done right.
The he Ainge is referring to is Tennessee offensive coordinator David Cutcliffe. Cutcliffe rejoined Tennessee this season after a stint as head coach at Ole Miss and has already had a profound impact on Ainge.
Coach Cutcliffe, he obviously knows what he's doing. He's got a great track record. He helped me the most with understanding defensive football. He was just trying to make me a smarter football player because that's the whole key as quarterback.
Eric and the rest of the quarterbacks are listening. They're trying to do the right things, but when you start bad habits, they're hard to break, and you know that.
Old habits may die hard, but Ainge is having his best season yet. 2,213 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions, and a 67.9 completion percentage. It's no wonder why Tennessee has the 9th-ranked passing offense in the country. But Coach Cutcliffe has helped Ainge off the field as well.
He helps me so much on the field, being a better football player, being a leader for this team, but he's also helped me be a better person.
Ainge, a game-time decision against LSU. You go back to the old San Francisco days. Was it Bill Walsh? Was it Joe Montana? Now is it David Cutcliffe or is it Eric Ainge?
Like I'm telling you, it's both. I watched Tennessee in spring practice, and you could tell Eric Ainge is a completely different quarterback. David Cutcliffe, just like he said, he does the little things well, really emphasizes the little things. Stands tall in the pocket, gets rid of the ball, knows before the ball snaps who he's going to get the ball to. He doesn't make many bad plays, throws the ball extremely well under pressure. He's completed 54% of his third down plays. This guy does remind me a lot of Peyton Manning. I like him a lot.
Well, Coach, you look at the numbers. 2 years ago, 55%, impressive, 45%, unacceptable by today's standards, and now 68% doing something right, certainly finding his receivers. Other side of the ball, LSU's Jamarcus Russell. Big numbers, yet he's taken a lot of heat in Baton Rouge, Coach.
You know, all he's done is complete 70% of his passes. 15 touchdowns, Mike, and only 4 interceptions. The knock on him, everybody talks about him not playing well in big games. And I'll say this, he better play well against Tennessee. This Tennessee defense is pretty good, but Russell is a great athlete. You can see him, he can run it, he can throw it, he stands tall in the pocket just like Ainge. And again, he doesn't make many bad throws, but he's going to have to dominate this Tennessee offense or this LSU offense for Tennessee's defense will step up and neutralize him real quickly.
And you mentioned the 15 touchdowns versus 4 picks. 3 of those picks came against Florida. But it's really hard to believe when you look at the overall stats, both sides of the line of scrimmage, that LSU has 2 losses. Michigan, Ball State, they're at the half. You're watching Sports Center U, heading back to the Big House in Ann Arbor in just a few minutes.
ESPNU College Football presented by Allstate at halftime. We're back at the Big House, the #2 team in the country, on top of Ball State by 12. Yeah, they've got a couple of touchdown advantage, but I don't think the Michigan Wolverines are real happy right now.
No, they're not happy. I mean, they're executing an offense. They had a little lull there in between the touchdowns, but 17 unanswered points late in the second quarter. It's really justified the score right now.
Let's take a look at game tracks and show you how we've come to this point. 9 points off turnovers. Michigan. There's the Henne interception that Keys brought back for a score. Early on, Ball State was very opportunistic.
Well, very opportunistic. They had good field position. They weren't moving the ball well on offense, but again, the safety, the interception for a touchdown, and then Minor gets on track. You know, they got a stable of running backs. They got Minor, they got Jackson, they got Hart. And there's guys that can do it. The offensive line's done a great job.
We'll see what happens here in the second half. 24-12 Michigan. We're back after this timeout on ESPNU. A cold but comfortable day in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The blue in town. The Ball State Cardinals, though, not intimidated. Early on, making this a contest, actually had the lead after the first quarter, but then Michigan turned it on a little bit in the second quarter, and they lead right now 24-12 as we're ready to start the second half. And the rushing yardage in that first half really is telling. Michigan 251 yards on the ground, Ball State just 17. And I don't care how devastating your passing attack is, and they do have a dangerous passing attack over there at Ball State. You still have to run the football.
You still have to run the football and make them honor the line of scrimmage, and I think Michigan's done a good job tremendously. They got a great team defense. They swarm the football. They nail their gap responsibility. They have great leverage, and that's all the things that Ron English, the defense coordinator, has talked about.
Now there's Mike Hart, 83 yards in that first half, but everyone's going to look at that fumble through the end zone that led to a Ball State safety.
Well, even though he did fumble, I mean, that's a wonderful tribute. 665 carries without a fumble. And I remember Jerome Bettis played with me in Pittsburgh. He had somewhat over 400 carries without a fumble, and then he had that fumble. But it starts a new streak. And I think Mike Hart's going to be around here for a while. And then there's Nate Davis. Really hasn't done much offensively, throwing the football down the field. I was with the impression they're going to throw the ball down the field vertically, but he hasn't had much time in the pocket.
No, he's been pressured and pressured often. That front four for Michigan, Woodley, Taylor, Branch, and Biggs, they've been coming in waves, it seems.
They certainly have, and their scheme coming in was just trying to be around the quarterback's feet, get hands up in his face, but these defensive backs do a great job squatting on the routes and making plays on the football.
Well, Ball State is going to receive here to start the second half. And we'll see what this offense can do. We're still in this football game. I mean, down 12. I mean, against the #2 team in the country, they've got to feel really good about their chances here if they get some breaks to go their way in the second half.
I know Ball State, they played Indiana. They lost to Indiana by 1 point. They had a tougher game against Purdue early in the season, but they have an opportunity at 30 minutes.
Here comes Terry Moss. Good return to the 30-yard line and then hit hard, but a nice bring back to the 29. Let's go down to Quinn Kesnick.
Clay, I spoke to Brady Hoke of Ball State as he was coming out of the locker room. He said the key defensively is going to be to finish the play. Too many missed tackles, too many yards after the carry on special teams also for Michigan. He pointed to the last drive, though. He's very happy with his team on that last drive. He said, we threw the kitchen sink at him, and it worked. So expect to see more gadget plays for Ball State.
Thanks, Quinn. Davis, classic drop-back quarterback, but that offensive line is so young. And gets rid of it very quickly underneath a lot. We'll see what he does here as he passes on first down. Finds a receiver. It's Dan Dunford, the junior out of Naples, Florida. And a pickup of a first down. A nice play right out of the gate.
He did a nice job staying alive with his feet. You know, feet get you out of trouble a number of times. And I think that particular play allowed Davis to get his vision back down the field. And that's one thing, as he continues to mature, the true freshman, he'll realize that his quickness with his feet will allow him to get extra plays down the field.
Skyler numbers on Davis now 7 for 13. Schiff Steinhaus, the tight end. They're going to run. It's Bostic. Nowhere to go. Tackled for a loss. Sean Crable, the strong side linebacker, 5th on the team in tackles, comes in to make the stop.
Crable is a specimen. I was down in the field, and he's every bit of 6'5", 241 pounds from Massillon, Ohio. Does a nice job with his leverage, but he doesn't stay blocked. He uses his hands and his feet to get to the ball carrier. Just a good athlete that makes a good transition getting to that ball carrier.
Crable almost transferred a couple of years ago, but Michigan is glad he stuck it out. Well, Ball State on 3rd down today, 1 for 7. Is going to be well short of the first down. It's caught out at the 46-yard line. That's Terry Moss.
It'll bring up a 3rd down situation, but it's very manageable. And that's one thing that Ball State wants to do in the second half is to get that ball controlled. Continue drives, get an extra set of downs, and I think that's the mindset going into the locker room coming out here. This will be a telling tale this first drive of the 3rd quarter.
7, as I said. Let's see if they can convert. Play clock down to 4. Davis gets it away. Dante Love. Nice move after the catch, trying to lunge for that first down marker, but he's going to be a couple yards short. David Harris there to snuff him out.
Well, he did a great job. David Harris running all the way over there. Nice move by Love on the perimeter. Catches the ball. He comes back to the ball, secures it first, and makes a couple of moves. But Mr. Harris, he's been all over the field today, and he just explodes through him.
Harris got his first interception last week. That really fired him up.
Certainly. I mean, you know, he talked about the team defense, and that's what it's all about. You had 2 defensive backs out there to protect the receiver not to get the first down, but Harris cleaned everything up. And that's what Ron English loves to see from his defensive people, running to the football.
Steve Preston back to return this kick. Chris Miller. He's got a big leg. He's going to bounce at the 1 and take a roll into the end zone. First down and 10 at the 20 for Michigan. It's a 51-yard kick for Miller. Michigan getting a little bad news defensively. Prescott Burgess is out. Ankle injury. Looks like he's done for the day.
Yeah, it happened early in the first quarter, and he tried to play through the pain. And he realized the importance of staying healthy and trying to get to that next week's game and the week after.
So Chad Henne brings him out for the first series of the second half. A guy that's not asked to carry this team on his back. Averaging just 180 yards passing per game. That's the 2nd lowest total in the Big Ten. But his leadership ability cannot be questioned. Hand off there to Hart. As we take a look at what he did in the first half, he had 12 carries for 83 yards. Passing wise, Henne 80 yards through the air, a touchdown. He was also picked off, and that was returned for a score. Carson Butler, redshirt freshman tight end.
It's nice to see that tight end catch the football. I've always been a tight end style quarterback. Those are the guys that get open the quickest, and they do the work down in the pit blocking people.
So, trouble with the snap, but there are penalty flags down. It looks like this is going to be illegal motion against Michigan. That is the case. Who are some of your favorite tight ends that you've worked with in the past?
Well, I'll start in college. John Frank, the All-American tight end that played in the National Football League for a number of years. Then my first year, Emory Moorhead, the fine tight end for the Chicago Bears. And then latter part of my career, we had a big guy named Eric Green, the Pittsburgh Steelers, out of Grambling, that came up, and actually he was out of Liberty. And he was 6'5", 280, but he ran a 4.7 40. But wow, those guys have big bodies. It's tough for those defenders to get through that and deflect the pass.
Speaking of the tight end, there's Carson Butler. He'll be about 5 yards short of the first down, out to the 25. And Butler is also a big guy, 6'4", 247. He's a redshirt freshman, as I mentioned, out of Detroit, so just down the road.
And I think Chad Henne feels very comfortable throwing the ball to tight ends. You got to keep him involved in the football game because it makes the defense defend the whole width of the field. And it allows the explosion to happen on the outside if somebody's working inside the middle on the linebackers.
Michigan has done a great job on third down today. They're 5 of 7. They came into the game 38%. And this is going to be a first down. Steve Breston tackled by Eric Keys, but Breston picks it up. Currently 8th all time at Michigan with over 135 career catches.
Well, he's a lot more than just a punt returner. That's somebody you have to defend. You have to know where he is on the field. Nice job by Henne, keeping his eyes down the field, knowing exactly where he's going with the football on the perimeter. But Steve Breston is a guy that's a playmaker. I don't care what somebody says or what somebody says he does not do. He is a playmaker.
He's also an accomplished poet. I bet you didn't know that.
Well, where art thou, my love?
Here's Mike Hart again for a pickup of 2 yards. Bice on the stop. We're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, the big house. Their capacity crowd on hand. Alongside Mike Tomczak, I'm Clay Matvick. Quinn Kesnick down on the field. Ball stayed in white. The Cardinals out of the MAC. Michigan, maize and blue as always.
Well, it's the first time I've been a spectator at this wonderful stadium. 100,000 plus. And there's some loyal Michigan fans here, no doubt about it. Discouraged from last year's performance record-wise, but
yeah, you know, I think
surprised.
You know, this is something interesting. 7-5 last year, and in Michigan, that's considered a losing season.
Oh, no question about it.
We have 2 fouls after the play. Personal foul, number 73 on the offense. Personal foul, number 11 on the defense. Those penalties offset. Second down.
You like those, you know, it's nice to have those offsetting penalties, especially if you're the culprit that threw the first punch or the cheap shot. It's kind of just a win-win for both guys, and no penalties assessed to it.
Now Ball State, it's facing its highest ranked opponent in school history. There's Breston again, but he's quickly covered up by Trey Lewis. That's actually going to be a loss of a yard on the play. Maybe he lunged back to the original line of scrimmage. Michigan has never lost against a MAC opponent. They got a scare in the first quarter here today. They were down 9-7 after the first quarter.
Well, it's a minimal scare. As long as there's time in the clock, I think this team feels very confident in their abilities. But I would like to see Mario Manningham get the football, at least get a touch. You know, he's been docile for the last 3 weeks. Just get the ball in his hands and allow him to do something to feel like he's part of the team.
He's lined up at the top of your screen, and he's looking his way. Now looks left, now releases, goes underneath to Breston. Wow, an acrobatic move there as he's flipped up out of bounds at the 49-yard line. Breston is having a nice day.
He certainly is, and that's a staple of his route running. He does a lot of underneath ball control routes. He comes underneath, he gets behind the linebackers and in front of the secondary people. And there's a whirly bird on the sideline. And I remember his freshman year against Ohio State. He hurt them greatly by those underneath control routes. And he talked about 5-7 yards. Those become chunks after a while.
After that chunk, he now has 5 catches. Here's Henne. 5-step drop, going deep downfield to the right sideline. And the intended receiver was Manningham, Mario Manningham, looking for his first catch since coming back, but pass was a little long, and Trey Lewis was stride for stride.
Well, the defensive back's cushion is 12 yards off the line of scrimmage. I'm sure Trey Lewis knows exactly where he's going. As soon as he breaks down his cushion, no body language told me that Manningham was coming out of that break, so he continued running with the receiver. I just like to see a little now pass, just raise up and throw it to him, just to get him involved in the game.
Mike Hart cuts back at the 45-yard line. Is pulled down at the 41. He is going to be close to the first down, but it looks like a little bit short. William Wise and Eddie Burke combine on the stop.
You know, Clay, it's amazing. It was 1st and 10, incompletion. They go 2nd and 10. That's the luxury of this offense when you have Mike Hart in the backfield and a strong offensive line. 2nd and 10, you hand the ball off. Most guys would like to go to a short pass or a ball control run. But he is definitely the pulse of this team.
254 yards rushing so far for Michigan. And that 254th just enough to pick up that first down.
That's all it takes. I've seen a lot of measurements in my day, and I just don't know why in college football they make those guys come from all the way on the other side of the field. They should have down markers down here. It makes it easier. Talk about speeding the game up. Those guys aren't 4.5 40 guys, I guarantee, on those down markers.
You should work for the NCAA. You really should.
No. I like my job just well.
Hart's going to get another look here. Shakes loose at the 30 and driven down inside the 20-yard line. Lloyd Carr told us today, Mike, that there is nothing that Mike Hart is not doing well.
Yeah, he certainly said that to us. And also Mike DeBoer, the offensive coordinator. Look how they secure the end man in the line of scrimmage with the fullback. Olivo does a nice job. He doesn't get enough credit, but he's the reason why, number 40, Olivo, that Mike Hart has had as many yards as he's had today and throughout the season. And Mike Hart is an intelligent runner. He knows where the point of attack is. He knows where to press it and also get wide.
A gain of 23 for Hart. He's going to get it again. Puts his head down and bulls his way to the 10-yard line. Driven out by Eddie Burke. Let's check in with Mike Gleason.
Clay, Dan Connors said when his Penn State Nittany Lions meet Wisconsin, get ready to hit, but that's not supposed to include Joe Pa. There's Joe Pa. Look at the left leg.
Joe Pa got taken out on the sideline. You got to be alert over there. You got to get away from those players. That's the most dangerous place on the field.
He's still on the sidelines, guys. They're trailing Wisconsin by 7.
That was painful to watch.
Hey, he's the type of coach that if he could play, that looked like a hyperextension there.
Look at Mike Hart carrying the pile. Touchdown, Michigan. Or at least the Wolverines think so. He might be marked down at the 1. What a move and what effort by Mike Hart.
No, just has tremendous patience as a runner. And then when he gets his pad level down below the defender, he becomes a bull. I mean, he just takes off and accelerates through the defensive back. Extra yards. Whatever he can get. That looked very close.
I thought that might have been a touchdown. It's first down and goal at the 1. Going to go back to him. He's hit. Lunges forward. And this time he's in. Mike Hart. His 10th touchdown of the season. And Michigan has opened this one up now to a 30-12 game.
They did most of that on the feet of Mike Hart. This is academic. I thought he got into play before, but he runs into Mr. Riley, the right tackle, and all that ball has to do is cross that goal line. And Mike Hart realizes that. Does a nice job in this last drive.
Hart had 95 yards and a touchdown last week against Northwestern, just the second time this season held under 100 yards. But in his defense, it was a wet field and he had a sore back most of the second half after hitting a down marker. Gets a touchdown here. It's 31-12.
What?
Well, Michigan started out slow, but they've opened up a 19-point lead in the last drive. 12 plays, 80 yards. And Mike Hart, the 1-yard touchdown run. It was all Hart on that last series.
It certainly was. There's a little Letterman story there for you. Support Ball State.
Well, Letterman predicted a Ball State victory, and if he was wrong, he was going to give everybody at Michigan Stadium a couple of nickels. So that's what that was in reference to.
Couple of nickels.
Yeah, 2 shiny nickels is what he said.
Everyone?
Everyone. He must have been sweating in the first quarter.
Well, here's a guy that packed his lunch pail today, came here with a workman-like mentality. 19 carries, 137 yards, 7.2 per rush, and 1 touchdown in the afternoon. But he just runs so freely in the open field. Runs so freely, has great trust in his offensive line, and he's making up for the games missed last year.
He missed 4 full games with injury. Missed the majority of about 2 or 3 more games. So he's basically ineffective last season because of injuries. Davis trying to get this Ball State team back into it. Pass is complete. Out to Hill. David Harris quickly there.
Well, he's supposed to be one of their top receivers, Darius Hill. That's his first reception. Yeah. Second reception. Actually, he had a middle screen, tight end screen, second reception of the day, but he's been a non-factor, and he used to be a basketball player, turned football player, only second year in the program, but he has a lot of upside.
Turned down a couple of Division I basketball scholarships. Look at how quick Harris is. Unbelievable. All over B.J. Hill at the 30-yard line. Hill didn't have a chance.
I'll tell you one thing about linebackers. When you do some film study, become a student of the game, you could pick up tendencies and keys. And that was a heavy run alignment, left-hand side of your screen. And as soon as he sees it, he fills. And he doesn't fill half speed. He brings that speed all the way through the ball carrier. And that's the way the linebacker position should be played.
Down and 6. Davis has a receiver and enough for the first down. Nice catch by Terry Moss. They call him Mr. Dependable in their receiving corps. They needed a dependable target there, and they found Moss.
Did a nice job just bouncing off the defensive back, finding open space in that zone coverage. But this, this whole offense is still maturing. They have a new quarterback in there. It's his 6th start. Young offensive tackles, second-year starters. Got some missing pieces, but they're building a foundation here at Ball State.
Finding a little running room on that left side. Nice run for Bostic. Let's check in with Quint Kesnick.
Clay, I've got something to show you. This shoe right here, this is not Herman Munster's boot. This is actually the cleat that Andre Ramsey, left tackle for Ball State, wears. It's a size 17, 5 E's, okay? 5 E's for width. Tex Ritter, their equipment manager, had to go through hoops and hurdles to get this shoe. He actually was wearing a high school shoe for most of the season. Keep in mind that Bob Lanier is in the NBA Hall of Fame with his size 21.
Thank you very much, Quint. Set it down. I know that's straining your arm.
Big foot in the big house.
Big pass and a big catch and a Ball State touchdown. Dante Love from 61 yards out. Nate Davis and Ball State continue to stay in this football game.
I'm sorry, Clay, but I'd go for 2 here. I'd go for 2 here, keep the pressure on, make Michigan think about what they're going to do. It comes down to one-on-one matchups. Nice job by Dante Love. Tremendous throw. But the defensive back never thought Dante Love would have the speed to get by him. You take a half a second off on your coverage, and Love loves to get behind you and get in the end zone. Big play potential by Ball State.
15th touchdown pass of the season for Nate Davis. We've got a football game again. 31-19. Dante Love and the Ball State Cardinals loving that 61-yard touchdown pass. 4:25 to play in the third.
Yeah.
Dante Love, they call him the Love Bug. And he shook loose after the catch. A 61-yard touchdown pass from Nate Davis. And Ball State now their 24th touchdown pass of the season. That's 4th best in the country.
That's production. You look at the likes of Hawaii, Texas Tech, Texas is known as a predominant passing team, but they're getting it done through the air, and Ball State's no different. They got two quarterbacks that have done a tremendous job this year getting the ball in the end zone.
I think Michigan's a little concerned right now with 4:20 to go here in the third quarter.
Until Preston gets it.
Preston, a big return out over the 40 and spun down at the 42. Good field position again here for the Michigan Wolverines as Chad Henne will come back out with this offense.
Well, I thought that last drive by Michigan might have allowed some of these guys to sit down and rest their bodies a little bit. Mike Hart and Chad Henne, but the quick score by Ball State changes the coach's opinion pretty quickly.
Well, Joey Lynch was the starting quarterback for Ball State the first 4 games of the season, but then they went 1-3 in those games, including a loss to 1AA North Dakota State. So the Cardinals said, we're going to make a change at quarterback. And they've gone 2-3 since under Nate Davis. There you see Joey Lynch. Henne under center, turns, handoff. Brandon Minor gets around the corner on the left side and slides down at the 50-yard line. Man down.
I think it's Jake Long.
You see Joey Lynch's numbers on the season. Not bad, but they just felt that they were going to give the youngster, Nate Davis, a chance to mature here in his freshman season.
Well, they made that move, and they knew what they had in Joey Lynch, but they knew the upside with Nate Davis. Looked like Jake Long might have got a stinger in his left shoulder. I saw that whole thing happen on the left side. He's been a dominant blocker. But anytime you see an offensive lineman grab his wrist, you know there's so much pain in that shoulder that they don't want to show any opponent whatsoever that they're paining. They have a lot of pain.
Here's Minor again. He's going to be stopped getting back to the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be a third down and about 1 situation for Michigan. Jason Seaman, the strong side linebacker, 50-year senior out of Katy, Texas, in on the stop.
You notice as soon as Jake Long came out of the game, they shift their running style back to the right side behind Reuben Riley Jr., the senior, playing his last home game. And those tackles are pretty dominant. He didn't play last week. He said he had an ankle injury, but he's getting healthy pretty quickly.
Michigan on third down today, 7 of 9. Very impressive. They go back to Minor. He may have been stopped. Short. William Wise shot through the gap and plugged the hole.
So did Brad Seitz, number 42. That's one thing that linebackers do. They can guess on short yardage situations. They have gap responsibility. That's exactly what their defense did in that last play.
Now the Wolverines are going to go for it here on 4th down. 2:20 to play, third quarter. See what this Ball State defense can do. Forced a safety. Return to interception for a touchdown. They played well, but they give up the 2 yards necessary to pick up the first down. I'm Minor picking it up.
I was surprised there, Clay, that Ball State didn't do anything to overload where Michigan's strength was on the left-hand side.
No, Long wasn't out long.
No,
pun intended.
Just want to get some recognition on the U. But we visited with him yesterday. He's a captain on offense, only a junior. He's a wonderful human being.
Chad Henne looking to throw. Has a man wide open. It's Preston. And he's going to be close to another first down. Trey Lewis tackled him out of bounds. He's going to be very close to another first down.
Well, he's been productive today. Steve Preston does a nice job. Chops his feet a little bit at the top of the route. You don't like to see that in receivers. They give away their routes a little bit when they're coming out of the break. But, you know, for a guy that's replaced Manningham, he's done his part today. He's not that big play strikeability you'd like to see with another receiver going down the field, but he pays dividends in the middle of the field and coming underneath coverages.
Michigan now 121 yards passing. It's been a decent day for Henne. Take away that interception. Here is Minor again. Good pickup on first down. And the thing about Henne, trails only John Navarre on 3 of the 4 major career passing charts at Michigan. And needs less than 400 yards for his 3rd straight 2,000-yard passing season. A lot of times, though, he hovers under the radar when it comes to national attention. And his name now has lately been somewhat mentioned in the Heisman talk, but Chad Henne is always underrated in my opinion. There's Minor again. Close to another first down. He may have picked it up. Trey Bice knocked him down.
Well, back to Chad Henne for a second. You know, he's the only freshman to win a Big Ten title.
Yeah.
And the Big Ten's been around an awful long time. And he was thrusted into the starting lineup opening day when their incumbent starter, Gutierrez, was injured during the course of the week in practice. And ever since then, number 7's been at the helm. And they've had some great quarterbacks here, the Jim Harbaughs and the Gerbachs, and you know, list goes on and on and on. Brian Greasy, the last one to lead him to a national championship. And even a guy by the name of Tom Brady wasn't bad.
Henne on play action, rolling to his right, comes underneath. Finds Obi Olibo. The big fullback ends it up for a first down. Olibo, no carries this season, but now has his second catch of the year. And it took 2 guys to bring him down. Olibo's 6 foot, 230 pounds.
Well, he's a team favorite. Very likable individual. Lines up at the tight end position. Does a nice job getting out in the flat with nobody covering him. But Olibo does his part. He bows somebody up going into that pile.
13-yard pickup for Olibo. First down and 10. Ball at the 13-yard line. Here's Minor one more time. He's putting together a nice day. He's close to the 5-yard line. And that's going to do it for the quarter. Michigan 31, Ball State 19. One more quarter to go here in the Big House. Michigan looking for their 25th 10-win season. They're going to try to get number 10 here today. So far, so good. ESPNU College Football presented by Allstate. We're looking forward to the fourth quarter here in Ann Arbor. 31-19, Michigan on top of Ball State. Now, if the Cardinals were intimidated before this game started, never know it because they played very well in the first quarter. Still, this is the largest crowd they've ever played in front of.
I think once you get in the arena, you're kind of oblivious to the crowd. You know, you got the blinders on, you come in here, and it's still the same length of field, same width of the field, and it's still football when the ball's kicked off. So, the coach got them ready to play today. He's got to finish it off here in the fourth quarter and not allow Michigan to get in the end zone.
As you can see by those numbers, Michigan winning this game on the ground. They go back to the running game. It's Minor. Cardinals quick to wrap him up. Brady Hoke in his 4th year as the head coach of the Cardinals, given a 3-year contract extension yesterday. A 1982 grad of Ball State, but spent 8 seasons under Lloyd Carr here at Michigan.
Well, he's well received before the game. There were a lot of hugs and handshakes. His former employer, but he's building a foundation. Lloyd Carr and he communicate a lot throughout the course of the week and trying to build this program down there. A lot of insight from a guy that's been around a long time in Lloyd Carr.
3rd down and 3. They need to get to the 2-yard line. 11th play of the drive, batted down. They went to the end zone. They were trying to hit Greg Matthews on that crossing route. Good job in the secondary.
Well, Matthews did a nice job getting inside a defensive back. I haven't seen a right hand. Looks like the ball was deflected as soon as the ball was coming into Matthews' hands there. Nice reaction by Lewis there. But, you know, receivers have to go out and attack the football, especially when you get down by the goal line. There's very little room for error there when you're a receiver and you're a quarterback.
23-yard field goal attempt for Rivas. He's already hit 1 here today. On his way to becoming the all-time leading scorer at Michigan. 34-19 now, and that actually does put Rivas into the record books. All-time leading scorer now at Michigan with 339 points. Congratulations to that young man. Let's go to the studio now and Mike Gleason.
Clay and Mike, this is kind of painful to watch here. Joe Pa, you know he'd hang around as long as he could, Coach, but they took him out the field.
You know he's really in pain for him to leave the field like that. Joe, I spent a lot of time with Joe Paterno. He's a tough individual.
13-3, Badgers on top, still in the 3rd, guys.
Well, he has seen a lot of his players over the years carted off. He's never been carted off, I don't think.
No, I'm sure he's humbled. I mean, that's a coach I remember they played a game at Ohio State, and he had a viral infection in his stomach. He had to run off the field. He said it's the first time in his coaching career he had to leave the field, and here's the second time in 1 year. That's one of those injuries where you can't just tape up and put him back in there.
I hope Joe Thaw is going to be all right. That did not look good, though.
It looked like he hyperextended it or something. It looked nasty from our vantage point. I don't know what the complications are, but I'm sure their medical staff is one guy that's going to be a stubborn patient. I know that.
Really? So Rivas, who just became the all-time leading scorer in Michigan history, kicks off. It's going to be brought back from the 4-yard line. This is Terry Moss, and the Cardinals are going to have decent field position out at the 32.
Yeah. Just as a final thought on Joe Paterno, as many games as he's coaching the sideline, you would think he would know how to get back when somebody's coming his way.
It's almost like it caught him by surprise. We're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, the big house, Michigan Stadium. Quint Kesnick down on the field. Mike Tomczak up here in the booth. I'm Clay Matvick. And Ball State with a valiant effort here today, taking on the big blue of Michigan. 34-19, under 14 minutes to play. Nate Davis, true freshman quarterback, pitches it back. Wow, and Dante Love got hit hard. A big strike. And let's take a listen.
Well, Stevie Brown will come into you. Love didn't have much of a chance to get his pad level down, but Brown did a nice job just form-fitting, get his arms around, put your nose right in his chest, and introducing yourself.
Brown, a third-string safety, so second and third stringers getting some playing time here for Michigan. We even saw backup quarterback for Michigan, Jason Forcier, warming up. We'll have to see if he comes in to lead the offense at all today. And pass from Davis, incomplete, intended for Terry Moss. Davis coming in. 1,200 yards passing today. Numbers picking up in the second half. Here has 97 in the second half, plus that 61-yard touchdown pass.
Well, that helps out a lot. And you know, he just first year into college football, averaged 40 points a game in basketball at Bel Air High School. It's a state record. But this guy has tremendous upside. He just needs to get a few more pieces of the puzzle, and I think Ball State can be a potential MAC champion in the near future.
They throw underneath to Love, and he is going to be snuffed out quickly. John Thompson, the middle linebacker, the sophomore out of Detroit, was quick to the football. And Ball State now 2 for 10 on third down conversions.
I think the receiver has to sit down in his zone coverage right there. If he sit down in his zone coverage, Dante Love can get straight up the field and get a first down. That's one thing that they're taught. Man-to-man coverage, you keep running. Zone coverage, you sit down and give the quarterback your numbers so you can find a target to throw to.
So Preston is back to return. Michigan's going to get the football back. Again, we'll see if Henny comes out. Preston at his own 15-yard line. And a good kick here from Miller. And it's going to sail out of bounds, actually. I read that one wrong. It went up. Highland was going to have nice hang time, but off the side of his foot. 27-yard punt. When you think college football, this is one of the places you think about. Ann Arbor, Michigan. There's great history here. Bo Schembechler, the legendary coach. Got Heisman Trophy winners here. Got national champions. 11 times they've been national champion. 34-19 the lead over Ball State right now. 12:04 to go here in the fourth quarter. Bring on the Bucks. Already looking ahead to the Buckeyes in a couple of weeks. And they have been looking ahead. Here's Minor. Good run on first down. It's going to be a pickup of 5, but there is a penalty flag down. It looks like this might be holding.
Holding. Number 54 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
And the Wolverines are already drawing comparisons to the great Michigan teams of the past. The 97 team, the last to win a title. That was Lloyd Carr's third year. The 73 team under Schembechler went undefeated, but that tie against Ohio State kept them from a national championship that year.
Well, that was a classic, and I was 11 years old at that time, and I remember the call in the game, and that was amazing. They had a tie. It was a well-played football game. And then Lloyd Carr's national championship in '97.
Who knows? Might happen again this year. Henny. Cocks his arm, fires to the far sideline. It's Preston. And struggling to get back to that original line of scrimmage before the penalty. Chris Allen quickly there to wrap him up.
You know, where field position is so paramount, you know, in weeks to come when you play a formidable opponent, or, you know, look ahead to Ohio State, those passes right there is ball control. It's moving to change. Even after that holding call, it's still going to move to change and allow you to stay with your game plan. And that's one thing Mike DeBoer looks for, high percentage completions with underneath receivers.
Henny sends Preston in motion on 2nd and 14. Screen for Minor. Gets away from one tackler, but then double teamed at the 40-yard line and driven out of bounds. Now bring up 3rd and long situation as you look at Michigan's remaining schedule. They're at Indiana next week, and maybe at the beginning of the season we might have said that's a cakewalk. Not anymore. Kellen Lewis is a great quarterback for the Hoosiers, and then on the 18th they're in Columbus.
We'll go back to the Indiana game. You know, so many times you look ahead, you might try to work on some Ohio State stuff before. We always played Northwestern or Ohio State, so we worked on some Michigan stuff before that game. But I don't think Michigan overlook Indiana. You can't, in today's game, you cannot overlook your opponents whatsoever. There's so much parity.
Number 65 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Until they get a playoff system in Division 1A football, Mike, the playoffs really start on September 2nd or whenever the first game of the season is.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you can't afford to lose a game. You know, you can early in the season, but late in the season is too fresh in the voters' minds. And let's see what Michigan does here in a 3rd down situation.
After the penalty, 3rd down and 10. 7 of 11 on 3rd down conversions today. Henny over the middle, had Preston wide open, and he dropped it. No, it's not Preston. That's Adrian Arrington, who was wide open over the middle of the field.
Well, Adrian Arrington ran before the reception. Watch to see if he looks it all the way in his hands. You can tell by his helmet going down, he's looking up. He allowed the ball to attack him instead of him attacking the ball with his hands. And a young receiver like that, only being a junior, not getting many opportunities. I'm sure he'll make the next 9 out of 10 catches thrown his way.
It's been a quiet day for Michigan punting unit. B.J. Hill back to return this kick. Nesco. Good kick taken at the 31. Here comes Hill. And he is spilled down at the 36. So we're going to take a timeout. 9:23 to go. 34-19 Wolverines. ESPNU College Football is presented by Allstate. Are you in good hands? Now the Michigan band at halftime was in good hands. Patrick Stewart from Star Trek fame. Star Trek, The Next Generation. There he is, leading the band at halftime. He's in town. The Royal Shakespeare Company is here, and he's part of the group. And there's Bo Schembechler.
My man.
Looking on.
I have a son named Bo.
Named after Schembechler? Kind of doubt that since you're a Buckeye. Deep downfield, another big play for Davis. Inside the 5-yard line, Terry Moss. And wow, you can see why they are so high on this true freshman quarterback.
McClay made a play with his feet and his arm. You get out of trouble, you scramble. I mean, he could be a little bit quicker in the pocket, but this is a very athletic move. You get out on the outside, go ahead and wing it down the field. I don't know how a receiver gets behind coverage late in a game like this. But they have Charles Stewart a backup and also Harrison a backup. But Ball State's not quitting.
Davis going to the end zone, has a man open, batted down. Good job by Charles Stewart. He makes amends and knocks that play down.
Yes, he does. And read his keys very well there. Davis had an opportunity to throw the ball in the flat, but he went up over top. Nice job by Charles Stewart, like he said, number 5, to negate that touchdown. But I think Michigan's shuffling in some of their tier players right now defensively.
And their #1 unit came back on the field after that play. They're still shuffling guys in and out.
They got too many guys out there.
That pass play, by the way, to Moss, 62 yards. So Davis has a 61-yard pass and a 62-yard pass here today. And Michigan was having a tough time getting set, so they call a timeout.
With a quick transition, who's in the game, who's out of the game. And Lloyd Carr's giving that official earful. He's saying that they're probably arguing that last play. They thought the receiver pushed off.
Well, Nate Davis having a big day. Let's hear more about him with Quint.
Clay, one thing interesting about Nate Davis, you watch him warm up, you watch him throw in the game. He grips the ball without the laces. He just catches it and lets it rip. He said it's something he's done his entire life. It's an unorthodox way to grip the football, but one thing is for sure, the kid has got tremendous arm strength. I've seen Troy Smith in person, and Nate Davis's arm is as strong as Troy Smith's.
Thank you, Quint. And I know Troy Aikman used to do that. Did you ever know anybody in your quarterbacking days that you came across that also did that?
No, someone mentioned Sammy Ball did it back in the day, but I always felt better if I had my hands in the laces. You have a starting point. A lot of times that guys that don't use the laces, they don't have any natural grip. But if you look at his thumb is gripping the laces to some capacity. But if that's your comfort level, so be it. He's been extremely productive throughout his high school and early college career. Let's see if he can finish off this drive here on 2nd down.
On 2nd and goal, they're going to pitch back for Bostic. Making his way toward the end zone. Touchdown, Ball State! Bostic with his first rushing touchdown this season. And we told you at the top of the broadcast, this Cardinal running game has not been very potent this year, but they get a huge touchdown to stay in this football game late in the contest.
All you need is a couple yards when you get close to the goal line. When you get close to the goal line, you don't need but 2 yards, and Bostic did his part. Tell you, Ball State does not have any quit. They talked about during the press conference this week about playing into the 4th quarter, and they've done their part thus far here with well over 8 minutes left in the game.
The extra point, and it's an 8-point game. So essentially a touchdown and the 2-point conversion, and they're tied with Michigan. Let's look at that last touchdown. Bostic on the run, but it was set up by that 62-yard pass play.
And that's determination. Second effort, knowing where the goal line is, and you stretch as far as you can, get that ball across the goal line.
Nate Davis having a nice day. Most of his yardage coming in the second half, and we talked about the way he holds the football.
Yeah, he holds it conventionally like this. Sometimes he gets his thumb on the laces like this, but historically, quarterbacks are taught to have either 2 or 3 fingers on the laces. At least you have a starting point. You have a consistent grip. Whereas Davis, sometimes he doesn't know where he's getting the football, and he just learned that through habit. My bone of contention is what happens when you get inclement weather, what happens when it's cold and rainy, and today's not like that. But if he's doing it well and I'm the head coach, let him do it.
Absolutely. I can't imagine a quarterback coach trying to change him now.
They try because their egos are big, but quarterbacks will tell you, I can't do it that way, coach. Let me play. That's not my game. But he's definitely impressed me here today.
I know his brother Jose Davis, who plays in the Arena League after a nice career at Kent State. He throws with the laces.
Yeah, it's amazing. Everyone's different. Everyone's different.
So Michigan is in a battle here with Ball State. Here's Preston to the 40. Good return to midfield and out of bounds. And that's exactly what the Wolverines needed. Still plenty of time on the clock, 8:33 to go. And we thought we might see some of the backups on offense for Michigan, but they can't now.
Well, it's the first play of offense, kickoff return. And there's a guy that's willing to do his part. And finally, the return team helped out along the way. But Preston, the speed guy, he's a long strider. Not real quick, but he's a long strider. And that was a huge, huge return for Michigan.
46-yard return for Preston.
How about the people around the country seeing this score late in the game?
They'll be scratching their head a bit. Ball State 3-6 overall, 3-3 in the MAC. Taking on the #2 team in the country, and this is in front of the biggest crowd a Ball State team has ever been in front of, playing the highest-ranked team they've ever faced, and they don't appear nervous at all.
No, I mean, first down, they stop them, make it 2nd and 10, and defensively, they finally made their adjustments of crowding the line of scrimmage and allowing those linebackers to run downhill. And they're kind of oblivious to this crowd. I mean, this crowd is almost silent right now when they keep on looking at the scoreboard. Can't believe it's a close game.
Henny on 2nd down and 10. 5-step drop. Comes underneath. Hart gets to the 45-yard line. A pickup of 4 yards. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 6. And Michigan has never lost to a MAC opponent. That would be historic, but an upset of the #2 team in the country this late in the season when everybody is looking to that game in Columbus would be unbelievable.
That's why you have to stay in the present. Coaches, supporting staff, players, trainers. It's so easy to get 1 or 2 guys start to chatter a little bit and to take your mind off of what's at hand here for 60 minutes.
See what they've done on 3rd down. They've been very good, and they continue to be, but the ball comes loose. They're going to say incomplete. Boy, Carson Butler, it appeared that he had it and actually started to make a move upfield, but the officials say no, incomplete pass.
That was a tight throw the whole way. I thought Eric Keys, #7, was going to come over again and make a pick. The tight end going vertically down the field on a 3rd and 5 situation. He got popped once he was unable to secure the football. Good call by the official, making it incomplete and bring up a 4th down.
You see Lloyd Carr is nervous, pacing those sidelines.
Every coach is nervous.
Zoltan Mesko on to punt. B.J. Hill to return. Hill calls for the fair catch. Wobbles a little bit at the 8-yard line. Let's see what Nate Davis, the young freshman, can do now. He's got the ball again with 6:38 to go, down 8. Well, this past year there was concern Ball State would lose D1A status because the attendance had dropped below a certain level. This year attendance is up. Even some Ball State fans here at the Big House. Big drive starting now for Ball State. And Michigan quick to the receiver. Lamar Woodley there to wrap him up. Bostic the catch, but Woodley was quick on him.
Let's run to the football. He saw Lloyd Carr talk to the defense beforehand. Let's get a stop here. We need a big stop. They've been doing it all day long, except those big touchdown receptions going down the field.
No gain on that play. 2nd down and 10 for Davis and company. 110,000 fans plus making noise now and making it miserable for Davis and the Cardinals. Finds Dante Love. Scoots out to the 19-yard line. 3 Wolverines quickly garble him up. And there is a penalty flag down, and this might be on Michigan.
Yeah, let the play go there. If it was an offsides in the offense, they would have stopped it.
Offside. Number 80 on the defense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat 2nd down.
So a break there for the Cardinals, as that will make Brady Hoke happy. Former Michigan Wolverine. He spent 8 years under Lloyd Carr, and he was hoping coming into this game that his old buddy wouldn't run up the score on him. Well, boy, he's giving his old boss a game.
It certainly is. This is the best case scenario. Coming here and playing to the 4th quarter when you're a MAC team. Tremendous performance in the 2nd half by this team.
So Ball State calling a timeout after that 7th Michigan penalty. Here in the 2nd half, this is what has happened. The Hall touchdown run put Michigan up 31-12. It looked like we were on our way to a blowout, but then Davis hooked up with Dante Love, a 61-yard pass play that kind of changed things. After the Michigan field goal, then Bostic with a touchdown run.
Well, staying in the game is a big thing, but coming into this game, we knew that Ball State couldn't run the football against a great defensive team, but going over top of the defensive backs has allowed them to get back in the football game.
Carr says of his old buddy Brady Hoke, he's a demanding coach, but players like him, which is a delicate balance to achieve. I'm sure you're a coach's son. You probably know something about that.
Absolutely. And look at the game summary. Defense, 2 turnovers for 9 points. That's pretty much the difference in the game right now. If they didn't get those 9 points, and Nate Davis, 203 yards passing, TD, and then 335 yards rushing, 3 TDs. Chad Henne, 17 for 25, 155, a TD, and an interception for a touchdown. It's not what you want to have out of your number 2 ranked team in the country.
Davis wants to throw again on 2nd down and 5. Has time, has a man caught. Out of bounds at the 43-yard line. That's the tight end, Darius Hill.
Well, he was a basketball player in this particular play. He was running a 15-yard flag route, they call, where he goes up the field, and at 15 yards, he breaks towards the sideline. But he uses big frame. That's why I like tight ends that are big. They use their frame. They act like a rebounder. On the receiving end, tremendous completion by the young freshman to his tight end.
A gain of 23. 1st down and 10 at the 43 now. Again throwing on 1st down, and didn't like what he saw. He threw it out of bounds.
Well, they rolled coverage there initially. Nate Davis saw an off coverage, but the snap of the ball, a corner rolled, and the receiver stopped his route. Good job by the defense there, disguising their coverages. And nice job by the quarterback. You didn't like what you saw, throw it out of bounds, line up for another down on 2nd and 10.
Davis out of the gun. That's enough for the 1st down and more. Down to the 35-yard line. It was Dante Love again.
Well, Dante Love's the same type of receiver as Preston is, underneath, control type passing. But one thing he does greatly here, he gets straight up the field. If I was a coordinator, I'd come back to the same play and get Love open in space in a zone coverage and try to use his speed to get up the field.
Pickup of 22. Now they're going to go back to the run game, and they've got room. Larry Bostic with a nice pickup on 1st down. Davis and the Cardinal offense is really feeling it here in the 2nd half. You take a look at Davis's numbers: 45 yards passing in the 1st half, 205 here in the 2nd.
And those 2 incompletions were throwaways. So he's almost perfect in the 2nd half, and he's growing up quickly in the last 30 minutes of this game.
They go back to Bostic. 1st down and more. Room to run to the 10, inside the 10, to the 7-yard line. Bostic with his 9th run of the day, and maybe the biggest.
It's amazing how momentum shifts so quickly in college football. You get the offensive line pulling out, making guys not be able to tackle the running back, but nice job by the running back Bostic, keeping his eyes down the field. And this is pressure football right now. Momentum has shifted greatly to Ball State's offensive side of the ball.
Goal to go from the 8. Back to Bostic, and this time nowhere to go. Holy cow, David Harris quick to the ball carrier. One of the better linebackers in the Big Ten, let alone the country.
Well, there's nowhere to go. And you talk about a linebacker exploding. David Harris has done that extremely well all afternoon long. And he's a leading tackler for this defense. But I would like to see Ball State look for number 88, Darius Hill. And tight ends become an integral part of your, they have to be an integral part of your passing game when you get closer to the end zone.
This is the 8th play of the drive, Mike. 2nd down, goal to go. Ball at the 12. Here's Davis. And that's going to be incomplete. Threw it underneath. He was looking for Dante Love.
You know, Dante Love did the right thing sitting down on zone coverage, but the last couple times he ran that same route, he kept running. You know, and the quarterback expected him to keep running. But when you get closer to the end zone, Clay, you got to sit down on coverage. You catch the ball first, and then you explode up the field.
Love is the Cardinals' leader in all-purpose yards. 87. It's been an important target receiving-wise today. 2 for 10 on 3rd down. Boy, do they need a 3rd down conversion here. Horse going for the end zone. Davis, pressure down. Penalty flags come in. Branch was there, and so is Tim Jamison.
Well, this would be a big call if it's against Michigan. They had him sacked. No one opened down the field. Whether it's a personal foul or 5-yard, we'll see.
Personal foul. Face mask. Number 90 on the defense. That penalty is enforced half the distance to the goal with an automatic first down.
Well, Jamison has been a big part of this defense as the backup at both defensive end positions, but a mistake they can ill afford.
Well, it's unintentional, but anytime that helmet does turn, he's got to let go of the face mask because a lot of guys can get hurt like that. That was pretty blatant, but it was unintentional, I'm sure, because all those guys, they get their hands in there and say, oh my gosh, let's get it out. Not get a personal foul, and hopefully the referee did not see it.
Now Ball State has 4 more cracks from the 6-yard line. Looking to throw. Love to the end zone. Nobody home. Closest man there was the left cornerback, Leon Hall. We've got a good game on our hands here, folks. We're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, the big house. And number 2, Michigan, getting a football game from Ball State with Mike Tomczak. I'm Clay Matthew, Quinn Kesnick down on the field. The Ball State Cardinals.
I've been looking for that tight end. I've been talking about it for 3 plays now. Let's see if they're listening next door.
On 2nd down and goal. They go back to Boston. Stiff arm dives toward the pylon, and it looks like he's out of bounds at about the 1. Michigan, one of 5 remaining unbeaten teams in college football, but they're on the ropes today.
Well, they're feeling it. You know, you have to play 60 minutes of football, but the 1 and 2 teams, a big gap between 5, 12, and 14, and as far as, you know, undefeated. The Ball State team comes in here believing they can win. You keep it into the 4th quarter, and these are things you can't control except going out there and playing hard for 60 minutes.
They actually marked Bostic out at the 2.5-yard line, so 3rd down and goal to go from there. Play clock down to 5. Davis looking toward the end zone, rolling to his right. Now being chased, gets rid of it to the back of the end zone, looking for him, incomplete. Jamar Adams, the strong safety there in coverage. It'll bring up 4th down.
That was a 2-receiver route, a little play action to the right side. They're looking for number 88 Hill on the right side. You cannot throw back across your body because you're towards the sideline. I mean, you had 1 receiver in that side of the field, and Michigan did a good job converging on the receiver, but you needed more receivers in that general area to help the quarterback out.
This Michigan defense ranked number 4 in the country coming into this week. They need a big stop here. Davis will step back in the gun. And now we've got a penalty on the Cardinals.
Full start. Number 82 on the offense. 5-yard
Could
penalty.
that actually be beneficial to a passing team?
Oh, most definitely. It gives you more space to work with. You know, it's one of those penalties that really didn't hurt your team.
His center couldn't hear him snapping the football.
No, the noise has become a factor, especially when you get down by the student section. You can't hear yourself think sometimes.
They did do noise preparation this week, but it didn't help in that instance. Davis to the end zone, incomplete. Morgan Trent, good coverage, and Michigan takes over on downs. Boy, did they dodge a bullet.
I didn't like that call there by Ball State. You got 1 receiver, you're relying on it. Dante Love is 5 feet 10 inches tall, and you're going against the defensive back that's pretty good in his own right, number 14, Kent. I would like to have seen them have more players in the general area, or at least give you more options instead of 1 receiver. And Ron English is pretty happy for that stop there. Pretty much seals the victory here, unless Ball State can get a stop here defensively.
Still plenty of time on the clock. 2:35. Henny's going to hand off smartly. And they go to their trusty back, Mike Hart. And there was a lot of thought at halftime. We even talked about it off the air that we might start seeing Hart spend more time on the sidelines in the second half. It hasn't been the case because they can't afford it.
No, they can't. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how this game is viewed. You know, if this is the final score here, Clay, around the country, you're going to say Ball State was only 8 points away from tying this game. What kind of implications, residual implications, are going to happen from this victory here that Michigan hopefully can secure?
Let's go down to Quint.
Clay, when we spoke to Lloyd Carr this week, this is a point in the game that he really referenced towards last year in the fourth quarter. In 4 of their 5 losses, they had a lead at the 6-minute mark, and he thought their fitness and their endurance really came back to haunt them. They couldn't run the ball late in the game, and that's why so many of these offensive linemen have recommitted to being fit, and it'll be interesting to see if Michigan can grind it out. And getting back to this game, big picture, guys, I think if Michigan would lose to Ohio State, this game would hurt them as a one-loss team.
That's a good point, Quint.
There's so many scenarios, and it is a good point by Quint. You know, they had this game dead in their grasp, but they got lax. They got people behind them in the secondary that allowed this team to get some life and momentum.
There you see the BCS standings. You know, not a lot of differential between Ohio State and Michigan, but you know, when you're supposed to beat a team by 30, 35 points and you don't, you barely hang on to win. That's got to hurt you in the computer rankings.
Well, it does hurt you, and I'm sure Lloyd Carr's aware of it, but the only mindset Lloyd Carr has is it's a victory. It was ugly, but it's still a victory. And as long as we could build on this and get ready for our next opponent, I mean, this was a dogfight for 60 minutes. There was a few lulls in there offensively by Ball State in the first half, but they rose up in the second half, and you give credit to Nate Davis and this Ball State team that came in here not really intimidated.
Coming up on 2 minutes. The remaining schedule for the Wolverines next week, they're at Indiana, and in 2 weeks in Columbus.
Well, like you said, Clay, Indiana's a pretty strong team, aren't they? I mean, they have players out there that can make a difference, and they throw the ball very effectively. 5 touchdown passes last week against Michigan State, the quarterback from Indiana.
Kellen Lewis, freshman quarterback, saw him against the Buckeyes here a couple of weeks ago. Very athletic and dangerous. And James Hardy, their top receiver. He is dangerous. Michigan will have a fight on their hands next week, no doubt about it. But in 2 weeks, it's the big game against Ohio State. And the Buckeyes are ready. You know, they have been the favorite ever since their win over Texas early in the season.
And it goes back to their win in the bowl game against Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl, where they dominated them and just took down their off-season program and got better and better at each position. It's a very intelligent ball club. It's a reflection of their head coach. And it's going to be a classic. I know we're going to build it all week long for the next couple of weeks.
I love the heading on that. This month's game of the century.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many games of the century have there been?
Well, the big thing here is the rush defense. What Michigan does, first in the country, in Ohio State. Can they stop Mike Hart?
Right.
And that's going to be the key to the ball. Who can control the game? I can guarantee you 2 things. It'll be physical, and field position will be instrumental in the victory of that game.
I think we saw today that Mike Hart is human as he gets the carry here.
Yeah, you're right.
Game.
Yeah.
And Mike Hart, you know, to his credit, bounced back today after fumbling in the end zone. It led to a safety for Ball State. But, you know, I think teams are going to look at that and say, you know what, we can. If Ball State can stop him, we can do it.
Yes, and also there's a lot of people in this huddle right now looking around, saying, how come you didn't, you know, they're second guessing, I guess, if you will. I want to use that term loosely because Michigan is a proud team, and they take a lot of pride in going out there and expecting to win every weekend. But I think there's going to have to be some questions answered. This is going to be a tired football team because it was a physical game today.
Expected to rest some guys and get an opportunity to do it. Coming up on a minute to play, Hart straight ahead.
Well, I know one coach that found out a lot about his team, and that's the coach for Ball State. Coach Hoke brought his team in here 3-6. Remember, they lost 3 games, one by 1 point, the other one by 4 points, and the other one was on the last play that hurt this ball club. So we're building something special down there in Muncie, Indiana.
This is a team that lost to Division I AA North Dakota State, and here today, a few weeks later, go punch for punch with the #2 team in the country. But Brady Hoke, obviously a very good coach. They recognize that at Ball State. The fans are rallying around him and his program in Muncie because they gave him a 3-year contract extension. They know he's on the right track.
And they're going to play games like this. We're going to find out very quick how much everyone's accountable. You know, there's young guys that are growing up fast today. You got the quarterback, you got the 2 tackles, you got some receivers, you got the tight end Hill that did a nice job today. But I would applaud this team for coming in here, facing adversity, and matching them punch for punch. And the first half was a little ugly offensively. They didn't get much going, but they responded. And Clay, I'm impressed with what they've done. And the only thing I have to question Michigan on is hopefully they're not looking ahead. You know, they get that 31-12 lead. That's one of those times where you sit there and say, okay, we won.
Well, we said it earlier. Jason Forcier, the backup quarterback, was warming up on the sidelines. For a while there, Brandon Miner was getting the lion's share of the carries. It looked like they were looking to next week already. They thought they had this one in hand, and it wasn't the case. It's Terry Moss to return. He's going to call for the fair catch. And there's still 16 seconds on the clock. Chance for some desperation here.
You got time for 2 plays. We've seen it happen already, where Love has gotten behind the secondary, and also Moss has been down there.
Now the clock's going to start right away here,
Absolutely.
Mike, and they do not have a timeout left.
Absolutely. Good coaching on Ball State, rushing to the line of scrimmage and not losing any time whatsoever.
Clock hasn't started yet. Now they started. Davis under pressure, steps up in the pocket, ball loose, almost caught the second time by Johnson. It was batted up in the air, and Lewis Johnson almost brought it down.
Well, we're gonna see what kind of arm Nate Davis has here in the next play. You don't have any time to throw the ball on the perimeter or inside the hash marks or even out to the numbers. If anything, they're going to go to that big bend to the right or big bend to the left, where there's 2 receivers on each side of the field. And they go vertically down the field, and they try to tip the ball to their teammate on a long throw with no pressure on the quarterback.
Davis gets it away, but out of bounds. 1 second remains on the clock. Chance for one more play. Boy, that pressure came fast.
Well, that's valiant effort by Davis, and I think Stan Parrish, the offensive coordinator for Ball State, is trying to come up with a bag of tricks here with 1 second left. We've seen Michigan do this throughout the years for the last 2 or 3 years. Last play against Michigan State, the last play against Penn State last year. Now their defense is on the field, and they got to negate this opportunity for Ball State.
Davis gets it away. Nobody home in the end zone. Intercepted, and that's the ball game. The only one down there, Ryan Mundy. And Michigan, said it before, dodges a bullet today here at home.
They certainly did. They withstood the test of time. I mean, football is a game of emotions, momentum shifts, ebb and flows throughout the game. And they had a little lull, I think, mentally, when they got ahead 31-12. And this will be addressed very quickly by the head coach, I'm sure.
Well, Lloyd Carr with a smile on his face as he greeted his friend at midfield, Brady Hoke. But inside, he's not smiling.
Well, it's a victory. It's a victory first and foremost, he'll tell his team. And we need to get better. And I'm going to tell you where the areas we need to get better on. And it starts up here with your mind.
Well, the Ball State Cardinals, who David Letterman said this week on his show, now they're playing in the big house. Probably a little intimidated because when they play their home games, they play in some old lady's backyard. But they came into the big house here today and were very impressive, losing by 8 points, 34-26.
Well, next year, you're going to look at Ball State and find them in probably one of the top teams in the MAC. They've really impressed me today with the way they came out here and fought hard. Need to work on their running game to control the ball more, but give credit to Michigan. A good victory. It's probably not one of the prettiest victories they ever had, but they'll take it moving into the next couple of weeks of play.
Got Indiana next week. In 2 weeks, Ohio State. 352 yards rushing for Michigan today. Very impressive.
Extremely impressive. And, you know, not only does that go above their average, but almost twice as much as they usually get. And Michigan did their part defensively, only allowing 47 yards rushing. And they allow 28 per game. So that'll change a little bit.
Now the running defense for Michigan came in ranked #1 in the country. Pretty good here again today. Gave up 47 yards to Ball State, but it was a closer game than they wanted. 34-26 the final. Purdue, Michigan State coming up. For Quint Kesnick and Mike Tomczak, I'm Clay Matvick. So long from the Big House. Michigan wins in a close one.
Coming up on Michigan Replay, the Wolverines rolled their win total to 10 as they beat Ball State. We'll have the highlights. We'll also meet a former Floridian who gets a kick out of being a Wolverine, and we'll look ahead to a road test against a resurgent Indiana team. All that and more coming up next. Michigan Replay with Lloyd Carr is brought to you in part by Absa Pure Water, delivering quality bottled water since 1908. By Sirius Satellite Radio. By the University of Michigan Alumni Association, uniting the leaders and best. www.umalumni.com. By State Farm, providing insurance and financial services. And by Pontiac, official performance machines of Michigan and the NCAA. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Michigan Replay. The final, Michigan 34, Ball State 26. As I talked with you after the game, you told me with great conviction, it's a great victory. And I, of course, had said, a little too close for comfort. And you took exception.
Well, let me explain why it was a great victory.
Okay.
We had a great group of senior players here at Jim that were playing their last game in Michigan Stadium. A year ago, we weren't very successful at home, and these guys were undefeated and won their last game in the stadium. So from that standpoint, it was a great win.
And the other thing you did, you pointed out, you said, look, there's some good things that Michigan did in this game. 500 yards of offense. Defensively, you hold a team to what, under 50, under 40 yards rushing?
52 yards, I think, and we rushed for 350 yards. So if you look at it from a statistical
standpoint. It's easy for you to say.
No, it isn't. But, you know, the problem was we were too generous. We gave them their first 9 points, but we did come out of the gate. We received the kickoff and put together a great drive. Mike Hart on the first play runs for a first down.
And the thing is, at this point, it looks like you're going to do exactly what you need to do against Ball State. You kind of take control of the game, and this drive appeared to be the kind of drive that you were going to get it done.
Well, there on a third down, Adrian makes a good move and gets the first down, keeps the chain moving. Here on a third down play, Chad hits Adrian again for a first down.
And then you get Jerome Jackson in the ballgame, and boy, what a job he does.
Well, he picked up right where he left off a week ago, and they ruled this a touchdown, but after review, they made him do it again.
Well, he gets it anyway on this play, and you're up 7-0.
Well, that's a great deal for Jerome Jackson.
Senior.
Valuable guy to this team.
Playing his last game in Michigan Stadium. And your defense in the early going was stopping their run big time.
Well, I think we did a good job throughout the day, with the exception of a couple plays they broke on the last drive of the game.
Well, now here's where some of the trouble starts. They punt it down inside your 5-yard line. And this starts the problem.
Well, we miss a block here, and Mike does not secure the ball very well, so we turn it over. We get a safety here. He fumbles the ball back out of the end zone, and we've given him 2 points. Now we got to kick off from the 20-yard line and give them good field position.
But the thing that happens in this, when you give them that good field position, you're able to get the defense going. You get a great sack.
Prescott Burgess blitzing from the weak side comes up with a sack, and we're going to get the ball back.
But then again, here comes a problem.
Well, Chad just makes probably his worst decision the entire season, and now we've given them 9 points in the first quarter.
9-7, you're behind, and at this point, what are you thinking on the sideline?
Well, I'm not thinking very good thoughts, Jim.
But the next possession, you know, you go back to the ground attack, and Mike Hart bails you out here with this big long run, and you get in great position. Then you get to the goal line, and this is a great throw by Chad to his tight end, Carson Butler.
Well, 3rd down and 6. It's hard throwing down in there, but he finds Carson Butler, and we retake the lead.
14-9 at this point. Defense continues to play tough. Then Brandon Miner gets a shot in the game.
Well, you know, here's another really positive thing about this game, Jim. A week ago, Brandon fumbled the football on a 3rd down, gives him the ball at the short end of the field. And but he came back on Saturday and had an outstanding day, and that was one of several outstanding runs he has. We get stalled down there, and Garrett Rivas becomes the leading scorer in Michigan history.
That's amazing. With those field goals, Garrett's able to pass Anthony Thomas to become the leading scorer. Your defense continues to play well.
Well, David Harris came up. We brought both linebackers and Harris and had the sack. Now we get the ball in good field position and a well-blocked play, and Brandon with great effort gets the ball into the end zone.
And at 24-9, you're probably thinking a little better thoughts now, right?
Well, I am, and yet on this drive, Ball State puts together a drive that was helped by a hit out of bounds, and here we come up with a big sack and force them to try a field goal right at the end of the half.
And they make it, so it's 24-12 at halftime. You're walking off, going into the locker room at half, it's 24-12. In your mind, where is this team, and what are you going to say to them at half?
Well, defensively, we played outstanding football, and we ran the football extremely effectively, but we turned the ball over twice, gave them 9 points. The score should be 24-3.
All right. Well, when we come back, we'll take a look at the second half. It got a little tight in the second half. But first, we hear from David Harris, as those little mistakes can cause big problems.
They got behind our defense couple plays and kept their hope alive. And at the end of the game, we, as a defense, we stepped up to the challenge and kept them out of the end zone.
Michigan Replay and Alro Steel take you inside the locker room.
You never want to frown on a win, but I mean, it just doesn't feel right that we didn't go out there and play our best. And I'm kind of glad we feel that way. You know, that's important to the coaches and to us, that we don't feel good about this, and we want to go in there and correct everything we need to do to go out and play better.
The Wolverines led Ball State at halftime, 24-12, and then opening up the second half. Your defense does a good job. You stop them, you get the ball back, and you start to put together another good drive.
We put together an outstanding drive. It's just the way you want to pick up 24-12. If we can score in the first drive, then we can take control of the game.
And Steve Breston had a nice day on Saturday, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He's had a lot of outstanding days, but he caught the ball, made some big plays in this game.
And he made a lot of third down catches. Here's a great third down catch.
Well, it's a great effort to get the first down, Jim. He just got past the marker there, and a diving, gave up his body there to pick up the first down. And Mike Hart here is leading this drive as we try to take control of the game.
And then you get it down inside the one, and you go to Hart again, and he pounds it in. And this gives you a 31-12 lead. And this is the point where you said we had control of the game.
Well, Jim, the only way they can get back in the game now is if we give up a big play in the kicking game or a big play defensively, and that's exactly what we do. Johnny Sears, who's a redshirt freshman, has played a lot of football this fall, makes a mistake there, and now it's 31-19.
31-19, and it gets a little bit tighter, but you come back and you continue to run the ball. Brandon Miner continues to work hard out of that backfield.
Well, that's an excellent run right there. He took the ball outside, cut it, leveled off, and picked up the first down.
And here comes Preston again, making a key catch.
Well, another first down. I thought Chad threw the ball extremely well in this game, with the exception of the bad decision he made in the first quarter.
And you get Obi Alibo the ball.
This guy's having a bang-up year. He's doing a great job in special teams, doing a great job blocking, and he's an excellent pass receiver.
The drive stalls out, though, in the beginning of the fourth quarter, so you bring in Garrett Rivas, and Garrett Rivas goes to the field goal.
Well, we answered with 3, and so 34-19 now. We want to play great defense, get the ball back, and nail this game away.
But the big play comes back to get you.
Well, we have a young player in there that lost contain on the quarterback. One of the difficult things, Charles Stewart doesn't stay back. It's a tough thing for a young back to learn, and that hopefully will be a lesson for him.
They go pitch sweep, and they get in. And Lloyd, I don't want to make anybody nervous or anything, but it's 34-26.
Well,
were you nervous?
Well, we got a ball game.
No kidding.
You know, and obviously here we need now to take the ball and move it on offense. We don't, and here they got an outstanding tight end there. This guy's about 6'6".
Darius Hill, boy, he can play.
He's an outstanding player.
And then they hit this little pass over the middle. And again, they're on a drive to possibly tie this game up.
Well, we miss a tackle there and avoid a zone, and their quarterback makes a good play. And here, the first time, the best run of the day for them. Again, they're missing a couple of tackles, and that's a well-executed play by Ball State.
Now, here's a play. You get a sack, but then you get on third down, but you get a face mask penalty, and that hurts you because it gives them an automatic first.
Well, this was really a great stand by our defense, because that was a third down play. They're going to have fourth down. Now they get first and goal, and we come up with 3 plays where we stop them, and fourth down, they throw incomplete, and our defense made a great stop.
They did a great job stopping them there, kept the lead at 8 points, and then Ball State gets one more shot late. And pressure is what causes this last gasp effort to be intercepted, right?
Well, Lamar had great pressure there, forced the quarterback to step up, and he didn't have enough time to let those 3 wide receivers get down in the end zone. So it was a good finish.
34-26, you get the victory, and you see shaking hands with Brady Hoke, a former assistant of yours. We talked a little bit about it last week. He had his team ready. They played real well. You said after the game you want to take your hat off to Ball State.
Well, and Brady and his coaching staff did a great job, because there was a time in there where we could have put that game away, and you have to give them credit. I think he did a great job because he's comes in here with a 3-6 record. What I want to say, Jim, is that the athletic director at Ball State and the president down there gave Brady a 3-year extension, I guess. I read about it this morning in the paper. And I think, you know, it's a great thing, because they recognize it's hard to build a program. He took over a program that was down, and he's not where he wants to be, but he's done a great job.
And it's nice to have the administration behind him and give him that 3-year extension, take him through 2010.
No question. He's a good man and an outstanding football coach.
And the Wolverines got a victory over Ball State and Brady Hoke. When we come back, we'll get up close and personal with Michigan's new all-time leading scorer. But first, we hear from Mike Hart, who gives us some honest analysis of Saturday's game.
I think it's hard coming in here playing at Ball State, you know, at this point in the season. You know, because the caliber team they were, the caliber team we are. You know, we should win the game. You know, everyone knows that. You know, so it's hard to get up for this kind of game, and that's one thing I don't think we did well today. I think we have to step that up in the future. You know, because if we come out like this next week, then we're gonna lose.
It seems like he's been at Michigan forever. When Garrett Rivas stepped on campus 4 years ago, he became the Wolverines' place kicker, and he hasn't stopped since. During his career, there have been some huge kicks, and while Rivas doesn't have a top 10 list, there are a couple he remembers like they were yesterday.
Freshman year in Minnesota, I never had chance to hit a game winner in high school. So Minnesota was always one that I put up there because it was the first time I'd ever been in that situation.
Here's the snap, placed down, Rivas kick on the way, high enough, long enough, and it is good! And with 47 seconds to play, Michigan has taken the lead at Minnesota. Turner Booth to snap it. Gutierrez puts it down. The kick is on its way. Long enough, high enough. Garrett pumps his fist, and Michigan wins in overtime.
Michigan State was a great time because I just missed right before it and was able to come back. And so, I mean, both of those are up there.
Like any kicker, Garrett downplays those kicks. Just go through your routine like any other kick. But clearly, there is huge pressure on those game winners. For Rivas, you shouldn't be afraid of pressure. Rather, you should embrace it.
I think you have to love the pressure, and that's part of, when I came to Michigan, like Coach Cardinals always told me, you're going to be in pressure situations. I'm going to put you in them, in practice every day. And then, I mean, at the end of every practice, we have a 2-minute situation, and there's almost always a field goal at the end of that. And, I mean, not to mention Coach Carr's 5 feet behind you while you're kicking with his little stopwatch. And, I mean, if you miss, he doesn't even, sometimes he won't even say anything. But you turn around and you look at him and you just know. I mean, that pressure's always around you. So, I mean, you got to love the pressure.
This Tampa, Florida native has been staring down pressure for 4 straight years, and the Wolverines are glad he's been there. But Garrett also says the partnership works both ways.
This place totally shapes you into be like who you're going to be. And, I mean, it's not all about football when you come here. I mean, there's a lot of things you're going to learn while you're here. And it's a great program, and I mean, they help you out in all different aspects of your life.
Garrett Rivas done a great job. You stand behind him with a stopwatch, and then when he misses, you don't say anything.
Jim,
you're a bad guy.
Nobody knows who a kicker is until he misses one or makes one at the end of the game. And they take all that for granted, and but certainly the coaches, players don't. Garrett Rivas has had a sensational year. And he's also taken over the kickoff duty. He's done a great job. He's an outstanding leader on our team.
Yeah, and you've always said, that Garrett has done a great job. You make a point of that because sometimes the kickers do get overlooked.
Well, the guy that snaps the ball, the guy that holds it, Ross Rhino. It's always a team game. But Garrett's one of those guys, he's never made excuses, and as he said there, he likes the pressure, and it's a great feeling as a coach to know that you have a guy there that wants that pressure.
Absolutely. When we come back, we will look at the Indiana Hoosiers, but first we hear from Lamar Woodley talking about Wolverine opponents. We'll take note of the Ball State game.
When teams look at this game right here, they're going to see some of the things Ball State did. They're going to see some of the things that we did for us, offense and the defense. And in a mindset, that gives them the same mindset like as if they can stay in the game with us too. So I think that we gave them more confidence that they already had going into this game.
Michigan Replay and Al Rose Steel take you inside the locker room.
A good test. Indiana's a good team. They played in some big games and they won some big games. So, I mean, going down there and playing the team with that type of offense and with the things they're able to do, this will be a good test for us. And it really makes us get back being focused. We can't overlook Indiana, because I know they've been waiting for this game.
Now, Steve Breston says a mouthful there, Lloyd, as you go into Indiana. The Ball State game in many ways does get this team a little refocused about you're back to the Big Ten, you're back to a team who has won some big games this year, upset some teams.
Well, they beat Iowa and they beat Michigan State, and they're a team, a very, very young team, very, very talented offensive football team.
And they've got some real things to play for. Indiana, Terry Hepner, their head coach from Miami of Ohio, had brain cancer earlier this year, had an operation, so they're playing with a real sense of urgency to some degree. And this kid, the quarterback, you feel is going to be a star.
I think he's a rising star. I think he's one of the finest young quarterback prospects in the nation. A guy that can throw the football as well as you want him to throw it, and a guy that's a great athlete. And speaking of great athletes,
how about speed here with Marcus Thigpen?
Jim, he's a great track man at Indiana, great kick returner, and a guy that has made a lot of big plays. They moved him into the backfield where he's a force, And then when you add Kevin Hardy, number 82 there, James Hardy, I'm sorry, a guy that's a big target, great receiver. This team can score points.
All right, 6'7" is Hardy. On defense, you got Bailey, outside linebacker, Myers, their free safety. Here you get a look at Tracy Porter, their cornerback, second in total tackles on their team, tied with 3 interceptions. This is a club that is making strides in progress. It's a story down in Indiana, isn't it?
Well, they've done a great job getting their fan base back. We're expecting a sellout down there. And, you know, I know that they're going to put everything they have into this game because they won 5 games. One more, they're bowl eligible, which would be, you know, a dramatic turnaround.
And they're coming off they got hammered by Minnesota on Saturday. That almost makes them even more dangerous, doesn't it? Because they're a little bit more hungry after that game, huh?
Well, I know this. You know, I've watched enough of their film to know that they play extremely hard. I think their coaching staff has done a great job building confidence in this team. And this kid that plays quarterback, he is something.
Well, one thing we want to talk about, and it's not a pleasant thing, but we want to mention a good friend of the Michigan family, a former coach and assistant with Lloyd, passed away this past week, Milan Vuletic. And Lloyd, I know he's one of the great guys out there. We loved him when he was here. He went on to coach after he left Michigan, but this is a guy that you hate to see leave us because he left too early.
Well, he was just an outstanding man, a guy that all the players loved. He has 2 sons, Brian, who played at Michigan State, Danny, who played at North Carolina. And our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to his family and his wife, Rosemary.
Yeah, he's a great man, and we will miss him indeed. We don't want you to miss next week. It'll be Michigan versus Indiana right here, same time, same place on Michigan Replay.
Michigan Replay has been brought to you in part by Abso Pure Water, delivering quality bottled water since 1908. By Sirius Satellite Radio. By the University of Michigan Alumni Association, uniting the leaders and best. www.umalumni.com. By State Farm, providing insurance and financial services. And by Pontiac, official performance machines of Michigan and the NCAA.